week. What a great week of sports. We got lucky. It's been awesome. Every night, another great game. A lot of times it was multiple games. Like last night, for example, you had an all-time great finish in a playoff baseball game, and then you had, unfortunate for me as a Bucs fan, a crazy ending in the Bucs-Falcons game. Feels like every night this week, as we were flipping around, Tom, we had some sort of like reminder of how it was as a little kid you became a sports fan. That's really what this week was about, because when you're little, you love sports, you love playing sports. Most of us, if you're watching this and you listen to this, you probably grew up in a similar fashion, right? You were at an early age locked in to sports and playing, participating, watching, consuming as much as you could. And somewhere along the way, unbeknownst to you, you realized that even though it wasn't a conscious thing that was going to stay with you for the rest of your life, that there aren't too many things in the world that are as riveting as a live sporting event, and how frequently that can press your buttons, right? Float your boat. Sometimes you can go to a play or a movie or whatever, but or music, of course, a concert. But man, sports is pretty freaking awesome. It was last night. I was thinking that while sitting there on the couch watching that stuff.
Yeah, sports can restore your faith in the universe, and it shouldn't, right? But it can. Like if you're going through a dark time, I can remember that when my hockey team won its first Stanley Cup 20 years ago now, my father lost both of his parents
right
within 30 days of each other, and his dad passed away suddenly. And his mom wasn't supposed to, but it was just an older couple.
Broken
been
heart,
married over 50 years.
Dad of a broken heart, yeah.
That's a thing. It happened.
Yeah.
And my grandfather passed in April of a playoff run, and as you know, Stanley Cup playoffs go on forever.
They do.
Months.
It's the hardest of all the postseason tournaments.
And my grandmother died in the second, about week 5 of the playoffs, and the Lightning just kept winning and winning and winning, and it was his thing to latch on to. Like he was going through it.
Yeah.
And when they won the whole thing, there was just a different look in his eye. And we get it. These are multi-million-dollar athletes that don't know you from anybody, but they wear your laundry and you care about them and you buy into them over a period of time. And sometimes they give you a little sprinkle of pixie dust and you feel like you're 10 years old again. And for maybe a baseball club that's in the Northeast right now, they're doing a little bit of that for yours truly, because this has been some kind of week.
It's been interesting. The Mets twice have given up leads after in the 8th inning in the same week, and won both those games. And last night's hero, although he's a big name, is not somebody that you would have expected to come through in the clutch. He's had, I know what the home run totals are. It's over 30, but he has not had a good year. And he actually has been declining for 2 years now. And he's, a guy that, I guess you can speak to this better than I can. I follow baseball closely. I go nightly, game to game to game. I get a sense of the announcers for a lot of these teams. And I try to read the raps each morning, what each summary was for these teams. I don't know. I don't get the sense the Mets want Alonso back next year. So really, you could be looking at a situation where last night in that situation, Tom, could have been his last ever at bat as a Met, and he goes yard.
Yeah, he hadn't had an extra base hit since the middle of last month. And
he's been awful.
It was a home run off of a position player. It was one of his home runs last month in cleanup duty. He hit one off of Cody Clemens of the Phillies. It's been nothing, a whole lot of nothing. And then in that moment, when you got to have it, he hits a laser beam line drive. And he knows he got it, but man, I don't think these guys had the dimensions of the field memorized in their brain. It's amazing because it didn't get out by that much. Not that I care, but as it's in the air, I'm watching thinking, all right, 2-1, might have runners on the corners. He might catch it. Who knows? And it just goes.
Yeah, it was a laser.
It was a laser, against an opponent that had been hitting home runs 85 to 125 feet beyond the fence. Because if Milwaukee hit one in this 3-game series, they got the hell out of it.
Yeah.
He hits one that's just far enough. And then, of course, the all-important 4th run for the insurance. Without that 4th run, who the hell knows? But we don't have to know.
Well, it's only fitting, too, that the play defensively in the 9th is an awesome one. And so it's perfect. I was going back and forth, obviously. I was watching our Bucs. And, that's one of those ones when you watch professional football, they play so many games, especially nowadays with 17 regular season games. every year you're going to have, if you have a team that's even decent, right? Let's just say somewhere in the 500 area, like these days there's no 8-8, but 9-8, 8-9. If you're somewhere around that kind of a team, at best, maybe you're a 10-7 type team. I think that's what the Bucs are. I think that's what the Falcons are. They're very similar teams, right? You're going to play a lot of close games because you're not good enough to, make these things rocking chair games. You got holes in your roster, right? And then the other part of that is you're going to win some games you have no business winning in that league if you're one of those 500 type teams. You'll find there'll be a game you're watching where like, well, I don't know. The other team struggled in the red zone. They missed some kicks. You hit on a big play. You get a fortunate penalty that goes your way. Something happens, and you steal one. That's the NFL. It's a league built on, the salary cap. Everybody should be, unless they're a dysfunctional organization, and there are plenty of those. See Carolina. But it should be that everybody's playing to be middling, unless you have an elite quarterback. Unless you have, somebody like Patrick Mahomes. You're just not going to be able to get past all of that. Well, that game last night was one of those ones that, the Bucs should have won 3 different ways. I mean, 3 different ways they haven't won. And you just knew when, they missed the face mask penalty, also the Bucky Irving fumble, and then you get the holding call, and you're out of field goal range. When you punted it back to Atlanta, you knew you did because your secondary is beat to hell.
And between a rock and a hard place of how you defend that situation, because you want to go prevent, but you really can't
because the field goal ties it.
Right. So, and you weren't covering anybody all night. I mean, they knew that they were so depleted that you got linebackers on receivers all night because you've got to go into a passive zone.
Yeah.
Like both hands were tied behind their back.
You're in trouble when you had to give the ball back and you know it. And so then you're like, well, maybe time. But that was a legitimate spike at 1 second. That wasn't a hometown operator. My man, they got up there. That credit to them. The Bucs should have held on a little bit longer and not got him to the ground as quick. But, as soon as he spikes it, you're like, he's going to make this. Koo doesn't suck. I know he had one blocked, and he did miss one yesterday, but he's a really good kicker. The week before, he had a 58-yarder to win it. So I'm like, okay, he's going to make this kick, and they're going to overtime. And what's tough about professional football, and I know they've made the rules so that it's a little bit more equitable, but when you watch a game like that, aren't you really like it? You guys, as fans of other teams, let's say you're a fan, or even if you're a fan of those two teams, you know the deal here. You know when a defense is exhausted or they're missing players or both, right? And neither team was doing a good job of stopping the other. It's not, Baker had a big night, obviously, and they were really efficient. They didn't have to throw it nearly as much. They were really efficient with their possessions. They scored on Atlanta kind of at will. And both sides are waiting on the coin toss. Because the whole thing is who's going to get that coin toss. I still don't like that. I get that the rule has changed now where both teams get the ball if you don't give up a touchdown, but I felt like whoever lost that toss was going to give up a touchdown. They were going to give up a score.
Well, fatigue is part of it, and that's where the Thursday night games, like, look, last night's game is incredibly entertaining. I had it on a small screen for a while, and even though that's my team that found a way to lose the game. Can't rain on this parade today, buddy.
No. Well, it's a regular season. It's a regular season football game as opposed to a postseason baseball game.
You can see how playing twice within 4 days affects the integrity of the game itself. And sometimes that leads to 16-13, and sometimes it leads to we're just going up and down the field today.
Yeah, correct.
Both teams look gassed. They look gassed now. In entertaining fashion, so people will enjoy the hell out of the game and talk about it for a while.
Yeah, it was a great game.
But, you could see that, if they had played it on Sunday, I don't think the total is nearly as high between those two teams.
Yeah, it was unique in that way. It is a little frustrating, but, these things happen. So it is. Bucs fall in that game, and I guess my overriding point was as soon as they lost the toss, I thought they were going to lose, and then because they couldn't get pressure on the quarterback. You're leaving Cousins time to stand in the pocket against the depleted secondary. He's good enough. He's going to beat you in that situation. And he did. Now, that said, I don't flip out in regular season NFL games unless it's your ass is up against it and you can't afford to lose any more games. Now, I know we play a stretch of a lot of really tough games coming up, and it would have been nice to have the buffer of being 4-1 going into a stretch where you're playing San Francisco and Kansas City and all these great teams. Yeah, agreed.
It's New Orleans, Baltimore, Atlanta, Kansas City, San Francisco.
It's a hell of a stretch.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a hell of a stretch. You're probably going to come out the other side of that stretch under 500, but now the gift is right after that stretch is over. You play a bunch of bums.
Yeah, New York, the Raiders,
like
and
the
Giants.
Bums.
And the Panthers.
Yeah, bums. You ought to win those games. So you can, what does it mean? Well, it means that the Bucs and the Falcons are both likely going to be sitting there at the end of the year within a game of each other, hovering around 500, trying to win the division like the NFC South has been for each of the last few years. And, we'll go from there. But, okay, so back to this. It's you watch that it's a regular season game, like, okay, we'll go to bed. But I do feel like every now and again as you're watching a game, any game, you see a moment where you're like, why do I feel like second to last weekend, we're one game back of being in the playoffs, and we're going to be thinking about that moment, the Bucky Irving fumble, the opportunity to get a first down and end the game, don't get it.
Yeah, face mask.
The face mask miss, the hold.
Yeah, it's 2nd and 13. You know, penalties offset. Here we go. You're still within field goal range. And, there's a lot of those moments. Now, Atlanta does have one of those, too, to be fair. It's a wide-open drop in a key situation where Mooney might score. That came just a couple minutes earlier.
Right off his chest.
Good Lord.
It's a toughie.
And it was a great throw. Herbstreit did comment on that properly, which sometimes he just kind of mails it in and tells you what school the kid
went to. Well, was propping Al Michaels up last night. I got to give Herbstreit credit.
Yeah.
He recognized he was watching a good game. Al Michaels over here half asleep.
Yeah.
Al, we got to intervene. We got to get people. I know he's making money left over, hand over fist. But, I mean, look, Al, you're a member at Bel Air Country Club. You go play, and he tells everybody about that. He goes and plays golf 4 days a week at one of the most exclusive clubs in America. He's been one of the all-time, if not the greatest play-by-play announcers in history. His legend is cemented. I mean, first of all, anybody old enough to remember, do you believe in miracles? Yes. I mean, that's it, right? I mean, you're forevermore. That's you.
Do you believe in Zequels? Yes.
My man is done.
He does.
He is done. So just go to, and I looked it up last night while I was watching the game because it was bothering me. He's 79 years old. He's nearly 80. Ow. Those last 10 years, take it to Bel Air. Take it to Bel Air and out of the booth. We got to stop paying Al Michaels because it's unbelievable. We're tied. We're tied in the fourth quarter of an incredible game where it's back and forth within a score. And he's like, and the 2nd and 6 is caught for a first down. That's going to put him in field goal range.
Right. Yeah.
You're like, Al, come on, baby.
He doesn't have a leg to stand on anymore because you could argue that last year some of the times he fell asleep is because the product was awful. Last night you have an entertaining game.
You've got
that you can capture hearts and minds and sell some subs for Amazon Prime, which is what they wanted to do.
Yes.
And he's like, 2nd and 6. Okay, there we go. Oh, I guess there might be another flag on this play. Kirk's like, hey, look, Kirk's driving the ball down the field here. He's making really good throws.
It's like they got a chance here. My man's doing some things.
Oh, well, looks like they're dancing in the stands. Like, okay, Al.
Okay, Al. What do we? Yeah, dynasty things. I hear you and see you, buddy. I just came in here. I met Tom in the parking lot, and it took me a second to get out of the parking lot.
Talk so tough. Let's meet in the parking lot.
We're in the parking lot, and in true fashion on a Friday, a libations loosey-goosey Friday, I went ahead and I was like, oh, that's right. I was doing my research this morning. I was jotting down numbers I liked, player props, overs, all these things, but I forgot to bet them. And I've done that before where I forget to either reach out to my bookie or go to the Hard Rock and make the bet. And then, like, I'm watching a game, and in my head, I thought, oh, I've made that bet. And then, let's say you're right about it. Every now and again, when you're wrong, you didn't do the bet and the bet lost, you'll check to see how much you lost. And then you go, oh, I forgot to make the bet. Good. All right. But most of the time, it's the bet you don't make that you won. And then you look at it and you're like, son of a bitch, I told everybody to take the over there. It was over by halftime, and I forgot to bet it.
Yeah, you check your account balance.
Yeah, you're like,
why hasn't that moved?
What has happened? This game's been over for an hour and a half. What are we waiting on here? Anyhow,
that happened to me in New York when I was visiting last summer, and I had a 2-game parlay, and one of them was on a long shot comeback by my ball club, and they came back, and the other one was Yankees to win, and it hit. Oh, baby.
You're like, here we
go. It was like 5.5 to 1.
Yeah.
And so we're leaving the next day. and I'm at the airport. Oh no, it's locked in. I've made the bet.
Okay.
I'm sitting in the airport because we're about to leave. I want the account balance. I want to cash it out because I'm going back to a state where I cannot access this.
Can't access it. Yeah.
And it's not happening and not happening. I email support. I'm like, hey guys, clear the bet.
Pay up.
They did before they responded to me. For some dumbass reason, I bet on the Yankees the next day.
Oh,
ouch.
Man.
It was Yankees to win. For some reason, it was close enough in the scroll.
And you just somehow did it.
Yep. And so
that hurts.
the Yankees played. It was that night's game. They're like, sir, it's tonight's game for the Yankees that you bet.
Get a handle on yourself, sir. Stop harassing us. You bet the wrong thing.
Check your dates. If you ever see the balance not move, just learn from me. Don't be embarrassed. Just check the dates.
Well, anyhow, one of the bets that I had to get down as quick as I could was Stephon Diggs over 55.5 yards receiving, if you must know. So I did.
I must.
Yeah. Okay. He's going to get the ball a lot. And so there you go. There's a little taste. There's a little morsel for you guys on a Libations Friday. I came prepared for you. A little leaven. Little spoon-fed leaven to start the day.
Hey, Chan, Devin White in the playoffs has something to say about your comment.
Yeah, the ones that matter, Chan. Like, when we were fighting to see who could get to the Super Bowl.
Jameis threw more touchdown passes than Drew Brees did that night.
Well, and that's because Drew had a pop gun arm, and it was taken advantage of. Congratulations on the one Super Bowl you got with Drew Brees and Sean Payton. We got the same amount with Brady and Arians. Ashley, I will talk about the game. It's a 3-hour show. I just didn't need to lead with it. No way we lead with this ass whooping that Florida State's about to take against Clemson. I've talked about it for 4 straight days. I can't just get giddy about this beatdown. But I will touch on it. We had drama last night in Major League Baseball, drama in the NFL. It was worth our time to start the day. It's worth our time. Jeff Cameron Show 93.3, Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. Let me tell you about my friends at Tried and True Consulting, a Seminole-owned business that specializes in payments and business solutions. Tried and True's core expertise includes card, ACH, point of sale, mobile, e-commerce, and hosted payment solutions. Tried and True will help you reduce costs and increase your bottom line. That always sounds nice. Whether you're a retailer, restaurant, licensed professional, or service industry, Tried and True is saving you money. Tried and True's expertise extends to payroll, video menu ad boards, IT services, web design, and social media. It's time to make one call and tell the competition to take it on down the road. Call Don or Joe today at 844-464-6653. That's 844-464-6653. When you do business with Tried and True, they contribute 10% of the net revenue to the battle's end. So go Tried and True today. Call 844-464-6653.
Pinch a Penny Pools has the largest selection of premium hot springs hot tubs in the city. You might even call it Tallahassee's Hot Tub Hub. 12,000 square feet of hot tubs, with over 50 of them on site. Over 20,000 gallons of tub capacity to choose from. That's 4,620,000 cubic inches of hot tubs. But I digress. So why should you own a hot tub from Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas, you might ask? Well, I'll tell you. Number 1, health benefits, of course. The healing powers of soaking in a hot bubbling pool of water go back centuries. Google it. Number 2, Pinch a Penny has hot tubs with technology called Freshwater IQ. It gives you real-time chemical readings and tells you exactly what to add to keep the water at peak perfection, with automated analysis to help you control the chlorine and pH. It's hot tubs for dummies. Sign me up. Number 3, they have the best prices, of course. Plus, you get a free accessory and no interest financing. Easy peasy. But if you don't want to take my word for it, check them out yourself. Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas. Locally owned, locally operated, and the easiest way to find relaxation at home.
Imagine for a moment that you are completely weightless in zero gravity. All of the weight and worry of life is melted away, and you fall into a state of profound relaxation. This is what you'll find at Tallulah CBD Mushrooms THC in Railroad Square when you try out their state-of-the-art floating pods. While you're there, shop for the best quality CBD, mushrooms, THC, and kava products available. Shop Tallulah today with 6 locations in Tallahassee and the Kava Bar Lounge in Bannerman Crossing. Online at TallulahSmokes.com.
This is Shannon Young with Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation. Investors, are you looking for a creative way to purchase your next rental property? Are you looking to get into the Airbnb space? If so, you need to know about DSCR loans. It stands for Debt Service Coverage Ratio. These are loans that do not require traditional income verification. As long as the proposed rent covers the mortgage payment on the subject property, that's the only income you need. If you're looking at investing and don't know if you can qualify, let's set up a plan to get your next income producing property and start putting you on a path to passive income. Give me a call at 954-369-6171. And don't forget, every fellow Knoll that we close a loan for, I will personally make a donation of $250 to the Battle's End. It's Shannon Young at 954-369-6171.
Equal housing limit. NMLS number 373033.
Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Normally we start the segment here with Lee. We're actually going to push it to the next segment is what we're going to do. I do want to at first preface in this hour at least Florida State and Clemson. And all week long I've given you my opinion on what I think is going to happen in this game. I don't think Florida State has the horses. I don't think that they'll be able to block the front against Clemson. And I don't know that this will be a fair representation for Clemson at this point. Like they've dominated their last three games. We all know coming off the Georgia game, they've been able to dominate and get better on offense and look much better. But again, NC State's a bad team who they beat up on. And then App State is a mess this year. And then Stanford, that score was deceiving, but Stanford wasn't going to beat Clemson. And so, I think we fall in that category. That's really the sad truth is we're going to be another one of the games that are going to lead people nationally to say, I still don't know what Clemson is. That's the hard part. I hate being in that category. I really feel like we fall in that category. Because I'll tell you something, Tom. If tomorrow Florida State was playing that aforementioned sorry-ass NC State team, it's been a disappointing year for NC State. They've looked bad. They've gotten housed by the only two teams they've played that are any good, and those two teams beat them unmercifully. Tennessee, obviously, and then what Clemson did in the first quarter was uncomfortable. And so that's not a good year for NC State. They're just not a good team. And I'm not sure I pick us to beat them. That's where we're at. Like if tomorrow we played at NC State, I'd be like,
it's up there. It doesn't matter what the circumstances are.
It could be here. You'd probably still be like, I don't know. Toss up.
Would feel better with Brock in that situation.
You would. I'd feel better with Brock against anybody compared to rolling DJ out there. I do. I feel much better with Brock out there. And it really has less to do with Brock and more to do with the offensive line being incapable of blocking opposing defensive lines.
Yeah, so DJU has the highest pressure rate of any quarterback in power football by a wide margin. Mm-hmm. It's almost a coin flip of dropbacks.
49% of the time he's under pressure.
Almost a coin flip. Yeah. The next closest is, I believe it's Castellanos, actually.
Yeah.
And it's around 38%. So you're talking about 10% worse at pass protection than any other offensive line in power football going against Tech, Boston College, Memphis, SMU, and Cal. Good gracious.
Yep. Some of it's on him, man. Some of it's on him.
Pressure rates,
I don't think he checks right protections very often, but
okay. Maybe he doesn't, but, these things are called one-on-ones, and you're allowed to win them.
Well, here's the other thing that I would argue, and I have argued, and I did after week 1 or week 0, I guess, but definitely after week 1. I remember making a phone call to you. We were talking. I was standing in my driveway talking to you. I said, man, when was the last time that you looked out there and you saw our quarterback recognize that a blitz was coming, that pressure and overload, whatever was coming, and then check to the hot route? Show me that release. Show me the release valve. Show me the thing that removes that stops that nonsense, that quick slant, whatever it might be. Show it to me. We don't have it built in.
No. Desperation against Georgia Tech, 4th down, Malik Benson. That's about it. That's the only one I can think of this year.
It's really, that's a good one, but it's really aggravating. I mean, where is that?
It's not routine enough because he'll just stare it down. He'll just stare it down and hold.
These are things that you coordinate to combat pressure. If you have an offensive line that has shown that it's going to give up pressure, you have to make sure you have built in these hot routes, these safety routes that you can get the ball out of your hand right here, right now, and get them to back off and stop mugging the line of scrimmage. You got to get them to do that. I don't see any of it. This has been a week where we've talked a lot about the imagination or the lack thereof from Mike. I'm not a guy who bitches about play calling these days, not very often like I did in my 20s, because I recognize now that that's probably not the place you want to place blame. There's usually something else that is more pivotal to a play's success or not than what was called down and distance. No, there are days where certainly you could call it into question. There are times where you can say, don't know that that's the best use of your personnel here on this play call or whatever it might be. Like when you're throwing on 3rd and long to a 5-7 receiver, even when it works, I'm still arguing about process over result. I'm still saying that's just not a good idea. I know it worked out there in Ireland because it's a great catch. I got to give him a ton of credit, but that's not what you do. You've got 6'4" and 6'3" on the roster. We don't.
We do.
Yeah. You don't have to do that, man. But anyhow, I don't want to take away from that catch. It was a great catch, but it just seems strange. So there's my man. I'll get to this. That's why I've had a hard time this week, because while I am enthused, and by the way, Z-Chan, I'm enthused because Brock is starting, and it will give you a fighting chance to make something out of nothing. Z-Chan writes, here's to Brocktober. Let's rally behind that dude. Oh, I think everybody wants to. I'm rooting for the kid. I feel like he's been put in a tough set of circumstances too many times already in his young career. I have to stop short of, because I want people to understand me clearly. When I'm bitching about the fact that they have really, it almost feels like they have a grudge against him. You have to emergency start him with no prep as the starter that week in the game against Louisville in the ACC championship. Whereas as late as the day of the game, they thought Tate Rodemaker was starting. That was less than ideal. Obviously, you throw him to the Wolves with a gazillion opt-outs against a team that would have beat you anyhow, even if your starters started that game, in my opinion, against Georgia. But you were certainly not going to win with all the opt-outs. And good Lord, you talk about being up against it. That's unfortunate for him. And now you had a scenario where you can go all the way back to after the Boston College game and say, or even if you want to say, okay, I would have preferred to get him ready for the Memphis game because you're coming off a bye. And I said it at the time that if you want to make a change, here's your first real opportunity to make a change, because you got 2 weeks to get something prepared for him. Memphis is not exactly the belle of the ball on defense, so you're going to be able to, probably protect him a little bit. You can engineer offense with this kid's legs against that team, and you would have had 2 weeks to do it. But when you made the decision not to do it, and your offense was still dreadful off the bye against Memphis, then I thought you should do it then, and you still didn't do it. And now here we're in a situation where you have to do it, I guess, because of injury. I mean, I'm suspect of all that. But anyhow, you have to do it. Good luck. Go get him, kid, against Clemson. That's just mismanaged. That whole situation is mismanaged. And in my opinion, Mike would disagree with me. Fine, we disagree. I think it's a mistake. I think he should have done it sooner. I think you give the kid a much better chance. I give the whole offense has a much better chance of success if this is his 3rd game as a starter, 2nd game as a starter, whatever. It can't. His first of the year at game speed is against that defensive line with your offensive line. Come on, man.
Yeah, that's just par for the course with Brock for his early career. What's interesting is, to me, will they finally, they should have done this as well earlier, but will they finally use Wildcat? Because in the last two games with Brock, they have. Toafili ran it very, very well, obviously in the ACC championship game, but then also in the bowl game, Toafili was not available, but they ran it with Deuce Spann for a little bit, and then Ja'Kai Douglas had much more success running Wildcat for Florida State in that moment. That probably has to be a part of the game plan, even without or independent of Brock's success, because they turned to it in the ACC title game out of fear because Brock was not doing so hot.
Yeah.
But I would think it has to be a part of the game plan today or tomorrow. The issue is, though, I can't trust any of those basic leaps in logic, any of those assumptions, because we've assumed a lot about what we would see this year, and we have seen hardly any of it. Play action shots downfield on the regular, using the speed, featuring Jalen Lucas, using maybe the Wildcat when you get in a little bit of trouble because your offensive line's not so good, letting Brock have a little bit more exposure early, maybe build a series in for him against Memphis or Cal. Like, none of these things have happened. So I really have no idea what to expect. In previous circumstances with Norvell, when it went bad, you kind of knew that a Wildcat thing would come, or a trick of some kind, or a wrinkle, or he changed the quarterback. With Milton, he did.
Mm-hmm.
This year has just been, totally off the wall.
That's been strange, and he's been really stubborn. He's been very, very stubborn.
It's the S word, we knew it was coming.
No, he's been very, very stubborn about all this. I do think now that the move has been made, Tom, I don't see how. It's interesting. We sometimes will reveal between the lines a little bit of the beat and who people think that these sites that compete with each other for your dollar feature people that are combative. For the most part, everybody on the beat gets along really well. We all see each other a ton. We've known each other, in my case, because I've been here for so damn long.
What, those scumbags? What are you talking about?
In my case, because I've been here for so long, I know I watched all these guys that get jobs at these other places or come through here and or move on or whatever it might be. And I watch them come up. I see them. I'm like the veteran of the bunch. And I got to know them over the course of years. So this is why I bring this up.
So what inferior production of theirs are you about to bring up and promote?
I'm not. I was in a text conversation with our friend Chris Nee.
Yeah.
And
this is true.
And I said that he thinks that this is how stubborn he thinks Mike Norvell is.
Oh.
He thinks that Mike will go back to DJ when he's healed. Well, I don't want to get into speculation about the injury and how long that's going to take. But let's say that's 3 to 4 weeks from now. You really think this far into the season, after you're 8-9 games in, you'd go back to DJ? So I texted him and said, I think you're nuts. There's no way. And he disagreed. So that concerns me because that wouldn't make Tom. There's not a lick of sense to doing that. There is no.
What's the second to last letter in the alphabet, buddy? Why?
Well, yeah, I know.
Why? Why would you do that?
I couldn't think of a reason.
No, there's no reason.
I couldn't think of a reason.
There's
Actually,
no freaking reason.
Let me tell you something. If you do that, that will lead to wild speculation. Like all these conspiracy theories that I dismiss all the time, that I deflect all the time, rightfully so. People love conspiracy theories. They're addicted to them. But anyhow, the internet is anyhow. But the point would be, most of them are just absolutely asinine. If you did that, if 4 weeks from now, DJ came back and started the game for you, unless Brock or Luke or
Trevor Jackson
got hurt, there's zero reason to do that.
I agree.
I'd be like, hey, man, what's going on here?
Well, look, when he doesn't, then you've put Nee's opinion on Front Street, and we can all laugh at him and say, $1 for 2 months with code FSU1.
Let's hear from Lee Sterling. We'll do it next. Paramount Sports, Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3, Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
A person was struck by a vehicle Wednesday afternoon along West Pensacola Street. The collision happened just before 4 p.m., according to the Tallahassee Online Police Statistics Map. It was labeled as traffic collision with injury on the map and took place near the intersection of Pensacola and Osley Roads. The pedestrian's condition and details of the crash are limited at the moment. At about 5 p.m., a Tallahassee Police Watch commander confirmed the pedestrian was struck by a vehicle, but no further information was disclosed. This is a developing story. This November, Tallahassee residents will vote on 5 changes to the city's charter or constitution. One of the biggest items on the ballot includes potential pay raises for city commissioners. If passed, commissioners would make the same as county commissioners, just under $100,000. Right now, the city commissioners are paid half of the county commissioners, meaning they make about $50,000. This is Rachel and A with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Cloudy skies expected this afternoon with a chance of thunderstorms. Daytime highs approaching 86. Winds out of the northeast, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Cloudy again tonight. Chance for storms. Lows level off around 72. Slight chance of thunderstorms tomorrow. Highs level off around 82. Overcast skies. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Currently, it's 83 degrees.
Searching for the best place to host an event for your friends and family? The Golf Club at Summerbrook is more than just a place for a round of golf. It's also one of the best choices for hosting and celebrating the most special days in your life. From rehearsal dinners and baby showers to corporate banquets and kids' birthday parties, you'll receive amazing personal service and attention to every detail when you choose the Golf Club at Summerbrook. Find out how affordable it can be and call us today at 850-894-GOLF. That's 850-894-GOLF.
There is no Bigfoot, Eddie. Would you stop with that nonsense?
There's a Bigfoot, Jeff.
I wish there were. By the way, I don't want you to point to me as the guy that takes all the fun out of the room. I wish there was the Loch Ness Monster. I wish there was the Bigfoot. I wish there was the Chupacabra. All the things.
They're all mythical except for the Bigfoot. The Sasquatch.
The Bigfoot?
The Bigfoot. There's big feet. There's lots of them.
So like different, breeds, like different kinds.
There's like, families. There's different families. And,
so there's if they're in the snow, you call them a Sasquatch.
Or the Yeti, right?
Yep,
and then here in Florida, that's a skunk ape. And, I've
never heard that one. By the way, why do you think it's real? We would have found them by now.
They're the hide and seek champions of the world. Nobody finds the Bigfoot.
I think you believe in Bigfoot.
I do believe in Bigfoot.
You don't believe.
I believe in Bigfoot.
Don't tell anybody you believe in Bigfoot.
I would go look for Bigfoot, but he scares me.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
It's Libations Friday. That's always a good thing. And it's especially a good thing because we get a chance on Fridays to welcome in our good friend, Lee Sterling. Paramount Sports joins us every Friday, and he does so again here today. Having a great year right now. Lee, how the hell are you, buddy?
I'm good. Well, I survived last Friday night.
Wasn't that crazy?
That was crazy. I mean,
were you at the game, Lee?
No, I was not. I didn't finish until like 8 o'clock.
So before you tell me this, I want to lay this out there. This is what we told our listeners. This is what Tom and I believed, and we talked after the game. The call on the field was wrong.
Absolutely.
The call on the field was an incomplete pass. Yep. But once they called it complete, you can't reverse it. They screwed that up. And to me, what they did in Charlotte, frankly, it was something they should have been doing for years, which is protect the team that give us the best shot to go to the playoff. That's what they did.
There you go. Hey, if they end up with a Pitt, let's say they end up with a Pitt Clemson ACC championship game.
Yeah.
Nothing. No ratings. It's dead.
No.
If they get an undefeated Miami team or even a one-loss Miami team against a one-loss Clemson team, going to get some rating. So
huge. And those are the two teams that have the chance to go to the playoff. And so
something was missing from that. And me being honest, I thought that Miami could have gotten called for interference. Number 25, Kid
on
Rashard.
That play?
Yeah, he was face guarding the receiver, and I think he even made contact when the ball was up in the air. I don't know what he was doing.
Well, it was a weird game to begin with because, frankly, Virginia Tech's coach blew it on the fake field goal.
Yeah.
If they get points there, they're going to win the game. It becomes a matter of possessions.
Yeah,
they're going to win the game. It's that was
we
really
had
weird.
another couple over to watch the game, and the husband is an official here in Miami, a referee, and the wife limited. She roots, but she's limited.
Yeah.
She even said when they tried that fake goal, she goes, "What are they doing?"
No, you got to get points there. You have a huge interception. You got to get points there. And then it becomes a possession game. They're going to get another opportunity because Miami's defense didn't do a good job of stopping Virginia Tech all night. So you got a chance. If you get one more field goal for the rest of the game after that, you win. Miami is not going to have enough possessions.
And that's why guys like Dan Campbell, the NFL, aren't going to win championships.
They blow it all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. It's nuts. Tennessee and Arkansas. Tennessee is a 13.5-point favorite. That's a big deal because at one point I think this was 14.5. If you get it for 13.5, I'm giving it. Lee, are you?
I am too. Now, the question is, double digits on the road.
Right.
Do you lay it? But I think Arkansas is fraudulent.
I do too.
Every year they play fairly well, and then their defense gets run over. Think about it now. They gave up 39 in overtime to Oklahoma State. You're saying, oh, Oklahoma State's pretty good. Now we know Oklahoma State's not any good. Oklahoma State's terrible this year. Taylor Green every year at Boise State, as the season progressed, he tailed off. I just think that this Tennessee defense is very underrated. They dominated Oklahoma. That score should have been much more. They just wanted to make sure that they won the game here. Also, you got to keep this into mind. We've got numbers now. Numbers don't lie. Arkansas, fastest team in the country with 80.8 plays per game. Also, Tennessee plays pretty fast too, number 19 at 74.7. And that includes a bunch of games when they were up and they didn't play as fast.
Right.
They didn't push the issue. So these are two teams in the top 20 as far as more plays generally means more possessions and higher scoring. And Arkansas doesn't have the depth that Tennessee has. Tennessee, their depth, like a receiver, they can run out 6, 7, 8 guys at you. So I think Tennessee did a favor to Oklahoma not running up the score. I think Tennessee doubles up Arkansas here, 42-21.
Yeah, we're in agreement there. Pitt in North Carolina. This is clearly going to have to be Mac Brown's last year, right? Yeah. I mean, what are we doing out here at North Carolina? They've never been a power, but it's getting silly. Yeah. Pitt keeps surviving, keeps winning. -3. Is that too rich? What do you say?
Cade, that's it. Cade Bell, offensive coordinator. Kerwin Bell's son.
Wow.
Little known fact. I played against Kerwin Bell in state playoffs. So
there you go.
I think he was a sophomore and I was a senior. I still lost. So it wasn't bad. I think it was 12-7, but there is a but. We did have 2 touchdowns called back. So
cheating
when you played back in the day, when you were from Miami and you played anywhere north of West Palm Beach, you just knew the officiating was going to be horrible against you. So
it's still bothering you, Lee. It's still bothering you.
I had a good game. I threw 2 touchdowns and I called 2 holding penalties. So not that we were the cleanest team, but I mean, I'll never forget this. In that game, I got hit in the face. Guy's fist went through my face mask and my nose broken, blood everywhere. I looked at the official. I looked at him like that. He goes, if you know what's good for you, you get back in the huddle.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah, I know,
in South Florida? Come on.
No, but we were playing. No, we were playing. I think this was, in that game. I forget. I think the game was actually being played in Orlando.
Oh,
so
man.
Played them in Orlando. And also, if you went down to the Keys, if you went down anywhere from Key Largo down to Key West, you would see the officials show up in their boats. They were boat captains. Shrimping boats. It was crazy. All right. So in this game, I think that Eli Holstein is just the best player here. You got to think Mac Brown is losing his mind. I think he's going to fire his defensive coordinator. They gave up 70 to James Madison, and they were up 20-0 in the middle of the third quarter, and they lose 21-20 to his old defensive coordinator who he fired. I think it was week 2 of the season against BYU, Manny Diaz here. This offense is really good for Pitt, and North Carolina, outside running the football, has nothing, especially on defense. I like Pitt 38-24.
Kane should, in my mind, have an easy go of it this week. We saw Cal. It's the lone team that lost to Florida State. Their offensive line, Lee, is not good.
Yeah.
I know you're traveling cross country, and California is competent, but 10.5 is a big number. I don't know. I'm on your Canes this weekend.
You think for game day, you think maybe 25, 30 kids get down from hugging the trees to game day?
I like that little stadium, though. I've been to that stadium.
I have
cool
to. So
yeah.
I took my wife on our honeymoon. This is over 30 years ago. She went on the field of 6 at the time Pac-12 stadium. So
there you go. You
pose to the Heisman pose 50-yard line. It is kind of a cool stadium. I mean, the whole area is cool. But I mean, not a lot of people go to their games. I think they might get 45, 50,000 for this game. Miami, maybe, you and I always knew Miami's defense is not great. If they played at Texas and Ohio State,
it's going to be a problem.
Those teams are going to put 40 to 50 on this defense probably. But Miami might score 25 to 35 and keep it fairly close. So the defense gave up 34. Virginia Tech finally played close to their capabilities. And 6-hour flight, 10:30 start, ACC after dark. We're gonna call it. Here's the problem for Cal. The offensive line is horrible. They don't have any explosive plays. In fact, they're number 88 in the country. They only have 16 plays of 20 yards or longer. Miami is number 2 in plays of more than 10 yards. They have 107, and they have 45 plays of more than 20. I just think Miami hits on big plays. You put really good receivers out there and running backs in space against mediocre defensive players.
Yep.
They'll go the distance. You saw what Cal's offense, when they got in the red zone against Florida State, did nothing here. I think Miami pulls away 45-28.
I've got the Canes as well. So far, we're 3 for 3, brother. Clemson minus 20.5 to FSU. This number was down as low as 14. I would advise everybody who was betting Clemson to get on that quickly because I knew it was going to come up all week long. It's moved around a lot, partly because Florida State made a change at quarterback. Right. I don't know. I don't see a path to Florida State keeping this game close. Do you?
Probably not. Brooklyn, what do you think of him? Any potential at all?
He's much more mobile than what you just saw in DJU. Brock, I think, will keep it on read options and make positive plays out of that. He's got a good arm. He's a very tough kid. Do I think he's a superstar in the making? I don't, but he's really been dealt a bad hand, Lee. He was thrown into the Wolves against Georgia with 16 opt-outs. He was told 4 hours before the Louisville game in the ACC championship that he had to play because Tate Rodemaker failed a concussion test the day of the game. Yeah. So he really hasn't been given a shot to do anything. And now he gets to start against Clemson. Great. You're like, what are we doing to this kid, right?
That's like saying, you're going to get you're going to the gallows. Do you want to go by gassing? Do you want to go by
How do you want to go out?
I mean, it's horrible. I feel bad for the kid. I think they're going to try to, like I said, shorten the game.
Sure.
The problem is Clemson's playing the best football in the ACC. Sometimes you laugh at what Dabo says, but he was patient with this team. Cade Klubnik finally hitting on all cylinders. You watch in the last 3 games, he is just on the money. The receivers, last couple of years haven't had the receivers they had when they were, playing for national championships, but those kids are coming around. Defense is still barely above average here, but I just think that, unless they turn the ball over 3 times, it's going to be tough. I like Clemson here, 40-17.
UCF, I was surprised to see as a favorite at Florida. And the reason I say that is I don't think Florida's good, but either is UCF. Gus Malzahn, I roll my eyes at Gus Malzahn all the time. That Colorado team doesn't have much success on the road, and they certainly have not had success running the ball, but they did against UCF. Can Florida find a way to get another win for Billy Napier here?
I think they were looking ahead. Sometimes if they were an underdog, I probably would take Florida. Sometimes just read into the number. We've talked about that many times. As a favorite, I think that they're trying to bait you to take Florida here. And I think they're going to be able to run on Florida here.
Okay,
And
fair enough.
I think these kids, I mean, you and I know these kids, Central Florida, you ask 100 kids over the last 10 years, if they would go to Florida, if they were offered, 95% would say yes. So if they're being honest. So I think this is a big game, big deal for these kids. I think the biggest weakness for Florida is their run defense. And KJ Jefferson has a game every year where you're like, okay, you see, why people like him and talk him up. He's a dual threat quarterback. He can be erratic. He can fumble. But I just have a feeling this is going to be his big game here. I like Central Florida, 35-31.
It's the lone game you and I disagree about, good sir, but I'm not in love with my Florida pick. Right. Free play of the day, an ACC battle, Georgia Tech -9 versus Duke. How do folks get it, Lee?
How about this? Duke wins. They're going to a bowl. Crazy. So
already,
it's been a long time. Yeah. They've been started off like this, undefeated. So anyone wants to get it for free, call 800-400-9741. First 5 callers get it for free. 800-400-9741. Big week. We hit our 45 unit max wager last week on Kansas State. You want to get, it looks like might have another 40 to 50 unit play. Call it Locktober, 4 weeks.
There it is.
For $297. There it is. Use coupon code SAVE200 in the coupon box when you're checking out, SAVE200 at ParamountSports.com. And also UFC. You want to try us out? Normally our cards are $77 to $97. We're going to have 6 or 7 selections, $7. That's right. You heard me correct. $7 for a UFC pay-per-view card from Salt Lake City. Baseball playoffs. We had the Mets. When you're winning, we're 5-0-1 to start the playoffs. When you're winning, you win games like the Mets. When you're losing, you lose every one of those. So through the World Series, $77. Check them all out. Also, hockey last year's about 1,430 services, Jeff, that are monitored for hockey. We were number 4 last year.
Nicely done.
890 units of profit. So I have a guy that does my hockey. His real name is Jackson Bond. Goes by Jack Bond. He went to Ohio State, played hockey there, hockey and baseball. You never heard a combination like that.
Right. Yeah.
So he blew his arm out in baseball, the first week of baseball practice, ended up playing hockey. And he's an attorney in Nashville, went to UM Law School, met him through my daughter's fiance, just sits there with 5 or 6 TVs watching hockey. He is incredible. Glorious.
I like it. I like hearing this.
Yeah. $9.97 for the hockey for the season. Check out all the specials and all the other free pick videos, ParamountSports.com.
Have a great weekend, Lee. Be well, sir. Always a pleasure. Be good.
All right. See you, Jeff.
Take care. That's Lee Sterling, Paramount Sports. Got hockey in there, guys. Got hockey in there. By the way, I'm just going to guess here. If my man played baseball and hockey, he's likely one hell of a golfer. It's Jeff Cameron Show 93.3, Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
No matter how busy life gets, your home is the place where your family and friends show you they care and celebrate with you. That's why the professionals at Barano Heating and Air Conditioning always make sure your home is comfortable. Just like those who matter to you most, Barano will always be there for you.
This is Tyler from Barano Heating and Air. Now you can schedule an appointment, purchase or renew your service agreement, or pay your bill from your mobile device. Any day, anytime, anywhere. When you turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air. Online at BaranoAC.com.
Florida license number CAC 1816186.
Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Bar.com. We conquer all peaks. We fix those dark leaks. Call 850-766-134. T-Bar Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Bar.
CCC 1331204.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take-home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Greta, Tallahassee. Your sports flash update on Real Talk 93.3, brought to you by Fulmar's Pawn, Gun and Gold. More than you might expect with two great locations in Tallahassee.
Looking ahead to the weekend in college football, Florida State, they are set to match up against SMU as they match up against each other for the first time ever. And also, it is the first ever ACC conference game for SMU. Florida and Central Florida play a non-conference game in Gainesville on Saturday. Florida all-time 2-1 against the Knights, having won twice in Gainesville and then losing in the 2021 Gasparilla Bowl. Miami football getting right for a matchup against Cal. NFL football last night, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers lose in Atlanta to the Falcons in overtime, 36-30. On Sunday, the Jaguars match up against the Colts, and the Dolphins play the Patriots. This Sports Flash is brought to you by Fulmar's Pawn, Gun, and Gold. More than you might expect with two great locations in Tallahassee. I'm Matt Pauley on Real Talk 93.3.
Shop Macy's VIP sale going on now. Use your coupon or Macy's card and take an extra 30% off the latest fall trends from designers that rarely go on sale. And save 15% off skincare, makeup, fragrances, and more. Plus, shop fall specials for even more great deals on top brands at Macy's. Savings off regular and already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
Wendy's breakfast burrito has an entire breakfast in every bite. Fresh cracked eggs, seasoned potatoes, American cheese, cheese sauce, and sausage or bacon. So the first bite is like fresh American cheese sauce. Bacon. And the second bite is like fresh American cheese sauce. Bacon. And the third bite, you get the idea. The boss of breakfast burritos, gotta be Wendy's.
Participating U.S. Wendy's.
We're all going through our own fitness journey. We want to get the most out of our time in the gym or with a trainer. We want to eat the right things and do the right things to be in the best shape possible. Why not find out exactly where you're at in that journey by getting a DEXA scan today? It's the most accurate measurement of all body composition methods. It is the gold standard in what is used in clinical diagnosis, the only method that can determine bone density and give a direct measurement of visceral fat. You can do so and save a bunch of money. That's why I'm here, guys. Use Jeff25 as a discount code for 25% off any of the services at DexaFit. It's not just a DEXA scan. They have red light therapy that helps accelerate wound healing, pain relief, muscle recovery, improve circulation, skin health. They'll also give you tips on personalized nutrition with weight management, fitness optimization. These are all things that you want to do to help correct imbalances. Go see our friends at DexaFit and save right now. Use code Jeff25. Discount code Jeff25 for 25% off any services at DexaFit.
Every journey starts with a first step, a daring step. But what they don't say about first steps is that you have to keep going, taking step after step, and eventually you take a big leap, accomplishing more than you ever thought possible. After 57 years, Tallahassee Community College is soaring even higher, and we're now officially Tallahassee State College. We invite you to take a step and visit Tallahassee State College. Learn more at tsc.fl.edu.
Wooden Glass has been taking care of families since 1945.
Experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best, like Wooden's top-of-the-line bath enclosures. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Wooden Glass, and they provide precise installation.
Wooden Glass, Tallahassee's first family in glass. Online at woodenglass.com. Call 850-222-5781.
At Epps Decorating Center, we're your locally owned Benjamin Moore retailer. We're your store for quality with brilliant and durable paints in a variety of sheens and thousands of colors. We're your store for service with one-on-one advice for contractors and homeowners. We're your local experts, and we're here to help with all your painting projects. Benjamin Moore, available at Epps Decorating Center with 2 locations in Tallahassee. Find a store near you and visit EppsDecorating.com. That's EppsDecorating.com.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And if you are watching on Warchant TV, we really do appreciate you. It's off of the cap to all of you guys. Steady, reliable, here. Love the dialogue in the chat when I get a chance to check it during the breaks and so forth. And appreciate all of you who are listening about town on 93.3. Hopefully we're going to have a good week. And, we enter into, after this Saturday night, little stretch where you can decompress, go into a bye week. And we did that yesterday by going through the bye week games, which turned out to be good. Not quite a park your ass Saturday, but October is such a great month for sports anyhow. And it's been on display this week as we kicked off the 55 straight days of football being on. Like lots of football too. It's not that sort of casual, there's a game on this night or that night. Most of the nights, Tom, that you look, you're like, well, there's 2 that night, there's 4 that night, there's 5 that day, there's the whole slate on Saturday. Friday nights, a lot of times now have like 4 games on. You got your flipping around. You got your flippity-do.
It's a nice little smattering, a sprinkling, if you will.
Yeah, it is. Like, for example, now I'll be at a high school football game tonight. You
would be anyway, even if your son wasn't playing, right?
You, for example, can tune into, and I'll get to catch the back half of this, but I'm not going to lie to you. I'm pretty intrigued. Syracuse and UNLV, Michigan State and Oregon, Houston and TCU, all games that are on tonight. That's not bad.
It's not nothing. And it's a night off from the baseball.
Right, so you can decompress a little bit.
That's a different level of stress. We all know that just because every pitch has its own little subtext. But yeah, that's a nice little, again, a sprinkling, a smattering. You put on the old YouTube TV little montage.
Flip it about.
Yeah.
I told you I was getting down with that YouTube TV this past week, and I started. Now I learned there's all kinds of stuff on there that I didn't know about that I'm excited about. Wow. I also learned, by the way, that one of the other games tonight, Tom, is Jacksonville State, Kennesaw State. Don't imagine great viewership for that one. But if you were going to tune in, you'd watch a game that's being played at Fifth Third Bank Stadium there in Georgia.
5/3. That's my niece's school, so go Kennesaw.
Yeah, I got a buddy that went to Kennesaw State. Yeah, absolutely. And good for them. Good for them. I don't think I've ever watched a game between Kennesaw State and anybody.
You've seen Kennesaw State in the dance. They did.
Oh, well, no. You're talking about basketball. I'm talking about football. I don't think I've ever tuned into a football game. By the way, I did see that the number shifted in my direction. That little contest at Beaver Stadium with Penn State and UCLA is it's now up over 28.5. I got it at 27.
Nice Beaver Stadium.
Remember when I saw that in the theaters, Tom, and thought, man, they got away with that.
Had it stuffed myself.
She's like, thank you. Just had it stuffed last week or yesterday or whatever it was. Yeah, that's really well done. You're like, okay. Leslie Nielsen was good. He was good.
That video always comes up because I mention it, and I try to mention it so my phone.
They're listening. They're listening. Yes.
That interview he did. where he's got the fart machine.
He's got the whoopee cushion and he keeps doing it. Yeah.
But the best part is the guy is like, okay, we ready? He goes, yep. And then the interviewer starts talking and Leslie goes, ah, just like that. That's it.
It's really good. He had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
He had a lot of fun. It's been a deadly week for as much fun as we're having. People are dropping dead left and right, man. John Amos died, man. All these guys are like, man. We already documented the sports figures, the entertainment figures.
John Amos hurts, man. I know you know him from sitcoms. He was, for me in sitcoms, I think he was Will's deadbeat dad in The Fresh Prince. So he had a small cameo of an episode.
Very
or two.
small. Yeah, he wasn't the main. Yeah.
But I knew him as Mr. McDowell in Coming to America. I knew him as Fitz Wallace in The West Wing.
Yeah.
Two very different characters, and he lands both. He nails both. What range that guy had.
Yeah, old John Amos was like intimidating well into his 60s. When you'd see him, he died. He was 84. He had a good life. So there's no, we're not boo-hooing as much here. He had a good run, made a lot of money, was in a number of impressive things in his field in terms of being an actor. He had more range than people realized. Obviously, people remember him in Roots. But, I mean, that dude, I remember thinking for years, every time I'd see him on celluloid, I'd be like, dude's still jacked. He's like 65 years old, still looking jacked. And was intimidating because he had the good voice, too. You're kind of like, I think John Amos will whoop your ass in the 60s.
I feel like any modern part he played, by that I mean, just a timepiece, if it's of the modern era. He says, listen, son, in every listen, son, and you will. Like, you perk up, like, ooh, okay. He means business.
I read a story this morning, and I'll move on to sports, but it did strike me as weird. John Amos wanted the announcement of his death delayed because he believed his daughter would turn his passing into, quote unquote, a circus, according to his publicist. Amos' death was revealed by his son, Kelly Amos, aka KC Amos, on an Instagram post more than 40 days after he had passed away. He's been dead for 40 days. He died from congestive heart failure. And he didn't want his daughter to I guess, post anything. I don't get what was going on there, but he thought that she would turn it into a circus for whatever reason. Doesn't speak highly of who she is.
I'm laughing. I'm just laughing thinking of Coming to America. It's the McDonald's scene with the photographer.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, get out of here. And then he's explaining himself. And he walks through and he hits Louis Anderson in the back with the door. Yeah. And the shake goes everywhere.
Louis dead too?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And I get to assistant manager. That's where the big bucks roll in.
They had it. Forevermore. And that diving board, him flying off. You're like, oh, no.
It's there's a weird line in that movie that's perfect because continuity wise, it doesn't make sense. But I suppose if you're working in the fast food industry, it does because you're just working with weird people. And he's in like 3 scenes with Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall. Then later in the movie, they're washing lettuce and he goes, hey, I remember you guys. It's like, well, yeah, you've been coworkers.
Been here for a long time.
What do you mean?
Don't look now. Florida State's own Daniel Berger, 1 shot off the lead. 1 shot off the lead. All right, Daniel, there we go. I did not put any pizza money on Daniel Berger, but he is a Knoll, and I will root for him. Sanderson Farms delivering again. And Tom Lang, why did I bring this up?
Because Bo Hostler's kicking ass?
Just took the lead at the Sanderson Farms. Unbelievable.
We're on Bo Hostler watch.
Bo Hostler dropped a 64 today in round 2 and said, I hear you, Tom Lang. I'm coming for you.
His visor's getting thicker and deeper. It's starting to look like a helmet.
I'm so proud of Bo Hostler dropping 8 under today to take the lead by 1. He's in the clubhouse at minus 15. Bo's out there tearing it up. That was a good call on your part. I got to give you credit there.
No, when I think Sanderson Farms, I hear one name and one name only.
Yeah.
And that's Bo Hostler.
Well, I thought Seamus Power, and thankfully he is at minus 11, tied for 8. So I'm right there. I got a guy. I'm right there. Actually, not for nothing, there's some dudes in the Sanderson Farms. There always is. These guys who really need to get an early start on next year's calendar. We got to get some wins out in this bitch. I'm about to lose my card. Like Bo Hostler. We need a good finish here this week, guys.
Hey, Daniel, you playing in the Sanderson? You know I need this one.
Yeah.
Of course I'm playing in the Sanderson. How about you? No. I made the playoffs last year, Daniel. I'm not playing in the Sanderson.
Well, you know Wesley Bryan's playing in the Sanderson. You know Ricky Fowler these days. I told you it was Doug Gim season. Doug shot a 66 yesterday. He's 400 through today. Doug, it's Doug Gim time, baby. They're all out there. Charlie Hoffman trying to make a go of keeping his card out there. Bud Colley. Good old Bud Colley taking shots at the flag at the Sanderson. We're trying to keep this card, man. This is a nice living being on tour. I mean, if I could just find I just need a top 10 finishing at the Sanderson. I can do that.
Especially with the bubble they're living in right now with these ridiculous payouts that they don't have money for beyond another year or two.
You know what I saw was going over the NFL games this weekend and was picking sides and having fun with it. But I saw the story where it looks like Tua, now the Dolphins season is pretty much a mess. I guess they feel like they can, certainly salvage it. I don't know where you stand on this if you're a Dolphins fan. I guess the idea of professional football is that you are paid to play, and if you can play, you're supposed to play. That's how that's kind of viewed by all pros. I mean, that's the way that is. Like, it could be week 10 and you could be 1-8, and they could say, "You feeling all right? Your knee's better now? You've gone 5 weeks with a bad knee." "Yeah, my knee's good." "Okay, you're playing. We're paying you to play, so you're going to play."
We're 1-8, but we're going to need you.
We're going to need you. We need you to play. So that's how that's viewed. Like, a lot of times you'd be like, in baseball, you don't do that. In baseball, if a guy's had an issue and he's a very important player for you, like an elbow or a shoulder or whatever, and, we're 37 games out of first and there's 52 games to play, you're going to say, "Yeah, man, why don't you just shut it down for this year? We got to make sure you're all right for next."
Yeah, because I'm paying you for the next 5 no matter what you do. In the pros and the NFL, it's I need to know if I need to pay you or if we need to cut bait here.
Yeah.
In many situations.
In many
Now,
situations,
for the
yeah.
quarterback, I mean, there'd be some dead cap money.
So
if Tua doesn't retire.
Well, here's the thing that I find interesting is that, okay, they were asked about this. Tua is going to play, he says. He says that he's ready to go. He's been on injury reserve, as you guys know, since September the 17th. It was his third documented concussion of his professional career. He has seen, quote, top experts around the country. The NFL's chief medical officer, Dr. Alan Sills, told reporters he was on a conference call. People were monitoring this situation because it is scary when you see a dude just frozen with his hands out to the side. It's one of the ones that, like, we can watch a guy shatter his leg, and while we may recoil for a second, you're like, it's a leg. He'll be all right. He'll be okay. He's going to have arthritis when he's older, but he'll be back.
He won't be, but my stomach can handle that.
I can handle watching snapped bones. But when the brain injury happens and the guy's arm shoots straight up and his fingers are in a death grip, you're like, "Oh, I don't like this. Is he dead? I don't like this." His eyes are rolled back in his head, his hands frozen, and you're like, "Oh no."
Florida man in Alabama says he's like Jim Carrey and Ace Ventura. Just put me in, coach. Just give me a chance.
It's awful.
It's Shady Acres in Tampa was the name of that facility.
So basically what he had to say, that Dr. Alan Sills, other than enforcing the concussion protocol administrates along with the NFL Players Associations, he said the league doesn't have a role in determining whether or not Tua plays. Like, the league can't dictate that. And he's right about that. But what I do think is interesting is the Dolphins in all of this, right? If he's cleared to play, which they're saying in this article that he is going to be cleared to play soon, like next week, week after, whatever it might be, and doesn't play, if he says, "I don't want to play, I'm worried for my health, I think I need more time off," the Dolphins get out from under that contract. They don't have to pay him because he's been medically cleared and he's, I guess, for lack of a better term, refusing to play. You're like,
right.
Okay, well, guess what? We'll just tear this on up. Good luck to you, brother. But if he's, obviously, if he's not cleared, this is where it gets bad. Like, if a doctor told the Dolphins, we can never clear him. We don't think it'll ever be safe for him to. They're on the hook for every penny of that contract. They have to pay it all. If I were Tua, I'd have been searching for a doctor to say I can't play again.
Well, there is also precedent with Tua with medical records where it got a little dicey during the draft process, if you recall.
Well, it was the hip, though.
Yes, but they wouldn't release the medical records. Like there was something about he wouldn't release the medical records to all teams. There was a withholding thing. Now it was during COVID too, that period of time. But I recall that there was a lot of teams were concerned that, hey man, if I can't see the medical, because he wouldn't submit himself to the combine for that stuff. If I can't see the medical, why would I take a chance and draft this kid? And he played the long game, and he ends up doing okay in that scenario.
Yeah.
But there's precedent here of if there's medical records with Tua, it can get a little bit complicated. And that the money is so great in this situation that it'll be interesting.
This has led to the larger conversation about those guardian caps and the things that are used in practices these days and preseason games, and they have much lower rate of these injuries. In fact, concussion rates have dropped considerably. They've dropped by 32% in preseason games. And so they're citing the progress that they've made. Of course, the NFL is going to do that around every turn if they can, which is good because I don't want football to go away. So good. Fix it. Try to get people who, aren't going to be walking around in their 50s with mush for brains. That'd be good. That would be good. Make you feel a little bit better when you walk into the arena, the gladiatorial games. You'd feel a little bit better, right? I could sleep at night. They've got concussions down considerably. No concussions on kickoffs during the first 3 weeks of the regular season because there really aren't any kickoffs anymore. I mean, there are, but nobody's.
Yeah, it's a specialty play.
Yeah, they're not flying full speed at one another like they once did, and that's where you saw all the horrible injuries or an inordinate amount of horrible injuries. But yeah, so I just find all of that interesting because just like Cleveland is really oddly, I know it's the way that you phrase this. Somebody called me out on this. I'm not telling you that the Cleveland Browns organization is rooting that a heinous crime took place with their quarterback so that they can for cause release him and get all of their money back.
Yes, you are.
I am saying that if such a crime occurred, it wouldn't break their heart because of being able to release him and get all of that money back. It's really delicate the way you talk about it because he sucks, by the way. He's not any good at all. So in addition to quite possibly, allegedly, being a rapist, not a racist, as I said on yesterday's show, a rapist, okay, in addition to possibly, allegedly being a rapist, he's also not any good at playing football anymore. So they got a double whammy here. It's a tough one. You've got the worst look possible from a PR standpoint, and guess what? It's not even worth it because he sucks. Most of the time, it's a league of mercenaries. I've talked about it for years. Like, that guy stabbed somebody. Oh, that guy shot somebody. Did he go to prison? No. Is there a felony hanging over his head? No. See you on Sunday, baby. Let's go. We're trying to win some ball games around here. I don't know what you're doing, but that's how that league is, and that's fine. I get it. I know what it is, and everybody does. But the part of that scenario that we kind of chuckle along with is that usually it's because, the guy's really good. You can't afford not to have him on the field. He's a game changer. See Tyreek Hill, who punched his pregnant girlfriend because he's a piece of garbage.
He choked her.
Choked her, right. That's right. Punched her.
Pinned her against the wall.
That's right. So, yes, we get all of that, right?
Lifted her off the ground.
But he's repeatedly out there and lauded because, he's really effing fast and makes a difference in games. Every professional league is that way. It's the NHL, it's Major League Baseball, it's the NFL, it's every league. Unless you're doing real time or facing a felony, you're going to be out there. You're going to be out there. But it's because you're a difference maker. Dude stinks.
Oh, he's a difference maker. He makes a difference.
He does. He does. Every week, I just bet against Cleveland. I'm like, well, you know what? I'll lose a couple of these. They'll stumble into a couple wins just because of the league, but I'm going to bet against Cleveland straight up every week because he's terrible. He may be the worst quarterback in the league, and that is saying something. Because there's some bad quarterback play in that league. I mean, you got a couple guys on the bench that would have to fall in that category too. But
a little preseason revelation if I told you that Sam Darnold was going to be worlds better than Deshaun Watson this season.
Worlds better.
Worlds better.
Not even, they don't even belong in the same conversation.
Yeah. If I said preseason, who's the MVP candidate between Sam Darnold and Deshaun Watson, you'd be like, oh, come on. That's not even a real question.
Yeah, but I wouldn't have chosen Deshaun Watson either.
I said you got those two.
Those are the only two I can vote on. Yeah,
I guess Deshaun's winning NFL Comeback Player of the Year.
I guess so. Man, a lot. Instead, it's between Jaden Daniels. It's Jaden Daniels and Sam Darnold. Our friends at Tried and True are here to save you money and make you money. That's a hell of a combination. As a business owner, you get to choose between several different kinds of services. Right now, I've been telling you about their video ad board, a free video ad board for you at your place of business, especially good for restaurants, especially good for waiting rooms at a car lot, let's say, or a doctor's office. If you want to take advantage of this offer, give them a call today. Don, Joe, Rusty do a great job. And folks in Tallahassee are alerted to this because they're calling pretty regularly now. I'm getting excited about these returns on this advertisement. 844-463-6653. The number 844-463-6653.
Coach Speak was just released on the channel and people's pods feeds, and I see that there's a language warning. What the hell happened to
I dropped a couple of F-bombs.
You did?
There was just some absurd moments, and I was like, this is...
I didn't know if it was the coaches or not. So you know.
No, it was me.
Okay. All right.
Well, Corey also cursed once, but it was...
Well, once one of you does, it's like you all want the toy that somebody else is playing with.
Just opens up the playground a little bit. You're right.
I'm just saying from experience, editing these things or having to direct Director Matthew to make sure that we caught all those things. When I listened to those old headline segments, when one of you did it, the other two of you would just
normally,
make a point to do it.
At that point, though, it was also just to add on and have some fun with it. But I do think that was part of it. No, today's was I was legitimately agitated by something. I was like,
was it us?
No. It was not us.
It was not Mike?
Mike's been featured last week. Mike got featured in Coach Speak, but his first appearance. There was no reason for him to make an appearance after the 13-0 season, 13-1 season. He wasn't going to have it. But this year he finally did. We were like, here it is. All right, this is good. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
When you need a plumber quick, how long is an acceptable time to have to wait?
Yeah, it's the Brewers again. Just calling you about our little plumbing problem.
2 hours?
Hey, we were hoping you can get here soon because the water is getting really bad. I mean, please hurry.
4 hours?
I know you said you were on your way, but honey, tell the kids to drink water.
8 hours?
Don't worry about us.
At M&L Plumbing, you'll never have to wait long for quality, dependable service right when you need it. At M&L Plumbing, we listen to our customers, and our qualified technicians aim to achieve 100% customer satisfaction. So the next time you need plumbing work or repairs, think of the name M&L Plumbing, your local plumbing experts, commercial or residential. Give us a call, 850-575-9393, or visit us online at mndlplumbing.com. M&L Plumbing, for all of your plumbing needs.
Pinch a Penny Pools has the largest selection of premium hot springs hot tubs in the city. You might even call it Tallahassee's Hot Tub Hub. 12,000 square feet of hot tubs, with over 50 of them on site. Over 20,000 gallons of tub capacity to choose from. That's 4,620,000 cubic inches of hot tubs. But I digress. So why should you own a hot tub from Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas, you might ask? Well, I'll tell you. Number one, health benefits, of course. The healing powers of soaking in a hot bubbling pool of water go back centuries. Google it. Number two, Pinch a Penny has hot tubs with technology called Freshwater IQ. It gives you real-time chemical readings and tells you exactly what to add to keep the water at peak perfection, with automated analysis to help you control the chlorine and pH. It's hot tubs for dummies. Sign me up. Number three, they have the best prices, of course. Plus, you get a free accessory and no interest financing. Easy peasy. But if you don't want to take my word for it, check them out yourself. Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas. Locally owned, locally operated, and the easiest way to find relaxation at home.
Honey, I'm home.
We're in here, honey.
So why are all my friends here?
Have a seat, Dave. We need to talk about your problem.
Problem? I don't have a problem. Dave, you do have a problem.
A problem with your grill? Here's some pamphlets from Hearth and Patio. They are waiting for your call to help you upgrade your grill.
If you or someone you know needs a grilling intervention, call Hearth and Patio today at 850-727-4282. That's 850-727-4282 or hearthpatiotallahassee.com.
This is Shannon Young with Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation. Sellers, are you stuck between wanting to sell your home and waiting for rates to fall? Are you worried about the contingency of having to sell your home? What if you didn't have to? With a 2-1 rate buy down, you can lock in a lower interest rate for the first 2 years of your mortgage and get the home you want now, all while having a higher chance to buy that next home with the contingency of selling yours. If you wait for rates to fall, you risk more competition, sellers less likely to wait, and paying more for that next property. If you're stuck, we need to talk. Give me a call at 954-369-6171. Again, this is Shannon Young with Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation. That's 954-369-6171. And don't forget, for every loan we close for our fellow Noles, I will personally donate $250 to the Battle's End.
Equal housing rent. NMLS number 373031.
Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
So was last night, what's your favorite? You've never seen the Mets win the World Series.
Correct. I've
You
been
were
alive
born-
for it.
Yeah, you were born when they did in 86.
2 days old.
I remember it very well. Not your birth, but their championship run. And
one caused the other.
It is the weirdest thing that that is the lone time, given that you're an old soul,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the lone time every time that we have this conversation that you can really see the disparity in age between you and me, and that I was in high school in 1986 when the Mets won the World Series over the Red Sox in one of the most famous World Series ever played, and you were being born. That is always interesting to me. That said, because you weren't really a sentient being at that point.
No. What I was I was a harbinger of the win probability bubble to burst that night. Like that was the ultimate 0.1% right there.
But I'm wondering, so your favorite sports moment is the Lightning winning the Stanley Cup. You got to see it with your father. You had season tickets. I know that one. We've talked about that one. But I wondered, is your second the 2013 title when we were out in L.A., out in Pasadena? Because I'm just curious. That was pretty special. You had gone through the last decade. You'd seen the worst of the worst, and then the way that game played out. Is that the second best?
I think that has to be, just because, there's a lot of layers to it. There's a career layer, which is the in the moment, but there's a life layer to it. I grew up a Florida State fan.
Right, and your sister went to school here.
I
and
used
all
to
that,
put on the Hutch helmet and the jersey every Saturday and the car flag. I would run it around the gallery of the house, like the front part of the house.
Yeah, you've been all in since you were a baby. Yeah, no, that's true.
And to watch them after all the struggles and to have a student era known as the lost decade. Now, didn't know that there would be worse times ahead than what I experienced.
None of us could have.
We thought that was the valley. Like we thought that was as low as it could possibly get.
Certainly hoping so is what we thought.
In that moment, we were right. But when you climb back, it means more to somebody my age when that 2013 title happens, because we lived through the depths and we weren't in college in the era that you were in college when it was always so fantastic.
Annually a contender to win the whole thing.
Right. So we appreciated it more.
So
and to be there live for it.
So third would be the Bucks in 2002.
Man, that was something.
But that would be
that was actually the Philly game. The Philly game was the moment. The Barber pick six.
Yeah. Because we shut down the vet. And you knew that we were going to beat the Raiders. We were going to win the Super Bowl. So there was that. Okay, so the Eagles game is number 3. Was last night number 4? That's what I was getting to. I figured that had to have been, in your lifetime, a top 5 fandom moment. I just love identifying those things. As you get older, it changes. You look back, you have the memories. We all do this as sports fans. I was saying last night to Bryce when that home run happened, because we were watching it together. And when he went yard, like, I jumped up off the seat because I was rooting for the Mets.
Yeah.
And I don't care anything about Milwaukee. So as soon as nothing against him, but I'm like, eh. And so as soon as he stayed back on the changeup, and I knew he hit a line drive, it was just a question of whether or not it was high enough. And he certainly thought he got it.
And you knew Williams was out of sequence too. Like, he's behind, but he's also in a predictable sequence here.
Mm-hmm.
So
then it happens, and bam, you realize in the moment, and I think all those Brewers fans did too, like, that's it. It's over. You're not coming back. I know you didn't think it that way, but everybody else was kind of like, oh, good night, Irene. And I know you ended up having to pitch a pitcher that was supposed to start the next game against the Phillies.
Yeah.
And because
we'll worry about that later.
Right.
Yeah,
because your closer's thrown 150 pitches this week, which is well past the norm. But I did wonder, like, I bet that's a top 5 moment for Tom in his sports loving history.
I'm still in shock a little bit about it. And one of the best things about social media, there aren't very many.
Nope.
Is when you get to watch reaction videos.
Oh, and hearing Howie's call is amazing.
It's a great call. But the people at Citi Field, it was amazing. There's a video where these people are sitting in a luxury box, and who cares about them? But they catch the stadium personnel
going nuts,
hugging each other, and going
that
nuts.
Stuff's awesome.
And I put this out on social today myself. But when we won in 2004, the first person, when the Lightning won in 2004, the first person that we went to hug, other than each other, my mom, my dad, and I.
The usher?
The usher.
Yeah,
Juanita.
Yeah.
And then and she was our usher for a couple of years. But then our previous usher from the last couple seasons before that came over to his old section and found all the season ticket holders.
Yeah.
Those folks that work in the building, that work for the team,
work their ass off long hours,
and they are so invested in the teams that when they win, you're happier for them than you are yourself. So you catch those little moments. It all adds to this thing. I will tell you that one of my favorite moments ever was in a loss. It was the Andy Chavez catch in 2006 in Game 7.
Great catch.
I'll never forget the joy in that moment. Now,
turned out to be a tough loss too, because we're going to go ahead and stare at a ball down the pipe.
And we'll have bases loaded, nobody out.
Yeah,
and that team's going to win the World Series.
That's a toughie.
But it doesn't take away from the greatness of the other moment. The awe that you're in when it happens, that this was one of those. The awe that you're in as it's actually happening, and you're like, pinch me, this is not real. This cannot be real. And it was.
When I was a little kid and the Pirates won the World Series in 79 over the Orioles, had to come back, win in Game 7. I do remember it vividly. Lucky I was old enough that I'll always have that, because there's a good chance in my lifetime the Pirates never win again, especially with that deadbeat owner who I wish would die in a fiery car crash. But I got to see that. And there have been some fleeting moments for the Pirates, most of them on the wrong end of heartbreaking games, like obviously the Braves in the early 90s. But that, I remember it. And I was a kid. I was falling in love with this. I was playing, literally, I was in love with the sport. And so there it was. You had that. And in that moment, that I felt so euphoric that I thought, okay, well, I don't know that it'll ever get better than this. And then from there, there have been other moments. Obviously, Florida State later on, the Bucks later on, the Lightning later on. But now I rank all these things. I'm forever ranking these things.
Yeah, so I would tell you that, like, there are championships that matter and games that matter. But then there are moments within every one of those runs. And it might not even be the championship game itself. In the case of Florida State in 2013, it's the Kermit return. It's not Kelvin catching the ball. Like, that's the moment that we win. But it's the Kermit moment on the kick return that takes your breath away. That is the moment where you pinch yourself.
It still takes my breath away.
Yeah, because you can't believe it's happening. And some fans react differently. Like, some people just go crazy in the moment. And then other fans like me, I'm looking for a flag. I'm like, well, it's a kick return. Are there any hankies? You can't believe that it's real. You can't accept that it's real.
Which is something we've done that is kind of a ruination of the game to my, just the way that everything gets reviewed now bothers me to no end, because it affects every big play that happens. Like, there was a time, and I'm old enough to remember it, of course, where you saw a play and the play was over. you were like, there it is. You didn't have to. I mean, maybe you looked around for a hold on a long run, but you didn't wait constantly for a catch to be reviewed. You weren't watching to see, 16 different angles. I do lament that part of it. I'm constantly like, oh, here we go. We got to review this 16 different ways to Sunday to see was that jostled at all, or did he get across the line, or whatever it might be. And that's a little frustrating. So I don't know. I think the purity of that moment last night is that there's nothing to review. There's nothing to look back on. There's only just different angles to see this magnificent moment. There's no flag to worry about. It just happened. Just realized we have prattled on, and I have got to get to wagering.
You texted me. I'm like, oh, yeah. Well, you're asking about great championship moments.
We
Time
got
flies.
wrapped up doing some stuff. It can happen that way. I understand. But if you want, cue it up. Let's get to some wagering here with Mama. She's up. She's up. I know that.
And now for another edition of the Family Pick. Nick. Take it away, Jeffrey.
Tom, I got to tell you, you guys are having way too much fun with the illustrations every week on this segment with my mom. Mom, I don't know if you could see this, but go back and watch the video of your introduction, because it's this grand helmet that he's created over here on the side and a bunch of other stuff. There's a picnic basket. There's a championship trophy now.
I told Tom, I cannot see it on the computer today because on top of everything else that's been going on here in this last week, our computer has died.
Good. You needed a new one. That thing's 1,000 years old.
You're probably right. Anyway, I'm taking it in tomorrow, and they're going to check it out, and they're probably going to say, yes, we do need a new one. So, and we probably will have to get everything transferred over. But anyway, for today, I'm having to be watching you on my phone as best I can, and so I don't have a real good view, but I will.
All right, so I had Atlanta last night, and I didn't deserve to win. Did you?
Not deserve to win, and I'm telling you what, I'm always going to say a bad word. I am still so angry because I thought when Levante David intercepted that ball, I thought that's it. We won the game.
Of course you did, and you rightfully did.
Yeah, and then I don't know what the hell happened. I don't know. I don't know. We didn't get a penalty that we should have been called on a face mask
Yep. We also fumbled the damn ball on the previous. Yeah.
And I feel terrible for Bucky Irving because I really like him, and he was devastated. I know, and so so then those idiots got the ball back. But I have to say, I don't know who's in charge of clock management and stuff, but I just think, it was terrible.
Well, Mom, the bottom line is the problem you have is if you get knocked out of field goal range and the other team has all three of their timeouts and you can't get a first down, this is what can happen. And our secondary is depleted with all the injuries.
I know.
And so right down the field, they win. That's the way it works. So my point would be, let's not belabor that. My point would be that I had the Falcons last night, and
shame on you. I had the Bucs, so I lost that one. But before we get started, I just want to say, I think now my brain is quite addled, as everybody probably knows. Your grandmother's house was lost in the storm, and
right.
It's been quite the journey that we're still going on. But anyway, I think I am 6 games up. That's what I think.
But after last night, you are 5 games up. So away we go.
Oh my God. Away we go. And I'm going to tell you right now, I have picked these games. And like I said, I'm doing it on my phone, and I'm trying to figure out what I want to do. And I don't know. This may be a disastrous week. We'll see.
You got to come to work. You got to be a professional, even when the moments are tough, Mother.
I know I do. And I'm trying to buck up, as you say.
All right. Jets, Vikings in London.
Oh, well, I'm taking the Vikings. I told you I'm staying with Minnesota until they do me wrong.
Yeah, me too. Cleveland at Washington.
Washington.
That's correct. Baltimore at Cincinnati.
Baltimore. What the hell is wrong with Cincinnati?
Well, they've got problems blocking. They've struggled a little bit. They had hurt receivers to start the year. That game's going to be really electrifying. That's going to be a fun game. That's the game of the week, really. That should be a great game. This next game should be a great game as well. So Buffalo versus Houston.
Yeah, I know. That is really a good game. And I don't know who to pick, but I picked Buffalo.
I'm taking Houston.
Okay, I thought you might.
Going with C.J. Stroud. So there you go.
I know. He's doing good, isn't he?
He's a good player. He's a very good player. And then I think in addition to that, Buffalo's got some injuries, so I feel a little bit better about it. I'm going Houston. Indianapolis. So now we have a second game different. I won the first one. This is going to get it down to 4, Mom. This is the week that I'm chipping away. This is where it all turns around. We're going to remember this weekend when the season's over, and I'm once again holding up the championship trophy. We're going to look back and say, I remember the day Jeff took Atlanta, got bailed out late. Then he had Houston over Buffalo. That was a brilliant pick. Indianapolis against Jacksonville.
I'm taking Jacksonville.
They're 0-4, and I'm taking Jacksonville as well.
Okay.
Man, Tom's probably disappointed because the Fighting Flaccos are his hero. He loves him some Flacco.
Okay, well.
He's a good player.
Anyway, what are you going to do?
Hey, he led Cleveland to the playoffs last year.
And then they let him go, dumbasses.
I know. I don't understand that. That was crazy. I do not understand it at all. But anyway, what are you going to do?
Carolina at Chicago.
Oh, I'm taking Chicago.
Miami at New England.
I'm taking New England. Poor Miami. They don't know what to do now. I'm telling you, they don't have a plan. They look terrible.
They don't have a plan, is right. Arizona against San Francisco.
I'm taking San Francisco.
Me too, but I think that game's going to be close.
I think it could be too.
Las Vegas against Denver.
Oh, Las Vegas.
You're going to be wrong again. Another win for me. I take Denver. Chip it away. Chip it away. This is going to be a good week. All right. Green Bay at the Rams.
Yeah, now, I have these all written down already, and I don't know. I'm thinking about changing this, but I picked Green Bay.
Me too.
Oh, okay. Because
it doesn't mean we're going to win.
I won't change it. But I'm really concerned about the Rams too. And in Green Bay, I don't think they're very good either. But what's his name?
Jordan Love is back. He's fine.
Back. Okay, so I'm picking Green Bay.
I think Green Bay is pretty good. They just didn't have their quarterback for 2 weeks. Giants versus Seattle.
Seattle.
Yes. That's by the way, everybody at home, go lay some shekels on Seattle to get the win there, guys. Giants are without Neighbors. This is going to be an ass kicking. Dallas at Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Dallas is in a shambles too. I don't quite know what's wrong with them either. I took Pittsburgh.
I did too. But it feels like a coin flip game. We'll see. And then finally, New Orleans at Kansas City.
Yeah, now that could be a really good game too. But I took Kansas City. It's hard to pick against Kansas City, and it's at Kansas City. Although New Orleans, but then what happened? Did they barely win last week by a point or lose by a point?
They lost to the Atlanta Falcons on a 58-yard field goal from Koo.
Yeah, that damn Koo. I'd like to do something to him.
Yeah, he's a good kicker.
He is a good. We have a good kicker. That's another thing. I don't know why we didn't try to kick a field goal when we had.
Would have been really, really lengthy from that one, Mom. That would have been like 60 plus. So we couldn't. We weren't going to do that. And it's not Koo's fault. He's good at his job. You shouldn't be mad at him.
I know, but I am mad at him. I could be mad at him if I.
You're mad because the other team is trying.
I'm just mad in general. This has been a wild week. Yeah, I took Kansas City.
Me too. All right, Mama. I love you very much. Be well.
All right, now so we've got three. Well, we got two more different, but we had three total different.
Yeah, I'm going to win all of them. It's going to be a tough week for you.
You are not going to win.
This is an ass kicking. This is a sweep by your boy right here.
Then I'll only be up 2.
Yeah, it's happening.
That's not going to happen. Who do you play this weekend?
We're going to get our ass kicked by Clemson.
Oh, Clemson. Yeah, that's true.
Yes, okay, exactly.
All right. Well, I'll be watching anyway. So at some point, if I get a minute.
Love you, Mom. Bye-bye.
Love you too. Bye-bye.
Mom was salty. She's mad at Koo for making a kick. He seems like a nice enough guy. He's good too.
Many world leaders said what she said, back in the 17th and 18th centuries.
I'm mad at Koo.
That damn Koo.
Well played. It's Jeff Cameron Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
FEMA has announced new counties eligible for assistance after Hurricane Helene. Homeowners and renters in Columbia, Gilchrist, Hamilton, Leon, and Suwannee counties who had uninsured damage or loss caused by Hurricane Helene can apply for FEMA disaster assistance. This is in addition to the previously listed Charlotte, Citrus, Dixie, Franklin, Hernando, Hillsborough, Jefferson, Lafayette, Lee, Levi, Madison, Manatee, Pasco, Pinellas, Sarasota, Taylor, and Wakulla counties. FEMA may be able to help with serious needs, displacement, temporary lodging, basic home repair costs, personal property loss, or other disaster-caused needs. If you applied to FEMA after Hurricane Debbie and have additional damage from Hurricane Helene, you'll need to apply separately for Helene and to provide the dates of your most recent damage. Apply for either storm online at disasterassistance.gov. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Frobley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Cloudy skies expected this afternoon with a chance of thunderstorms. Daytime highs approaching 86. Winds out of the northeast, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Cloudy again tonight. Chance for storms. Lows level off around 72. Slight chance of thunderstorms tomorrow. Highs level off around 82. Overcast skies. This report is brought to you by The Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Currently 84.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future. There he is. Haven't seen this guy since, what was it? Oh, shoot. You two at the Sphere in Las Vegas, baby.
Hey, how about that, man? Wasn't that fun?
Good show. Good show. Everything about it. Nearly perfect. Nearly perfect.
I had everything I could possibly want.
I wanted one thing, couldn't find it, and I looked everywhere. No Cubans.
What do you mean?
No Cubans.
There was Cubans.
No, I didn't see any Cubans.
Dude, I'm sure there was Cubans there. I mean, you know.
No, I walked around. There was a moment right before the show. I thought, got to find some Cubans. Nothing.
Dude, there's Cubans. There was Cubans. I'm sure there was Cubans.
In Las Vegas?
In Las Vegas.
No Cubans in Vegas.
There's Cubans in Vegas, man.
Eddie, there were no Cubans.
Chef.
The sandwich. There were no Cuban sandwiches. You're Cuban. Of course I know there were Cubans there.
Oh, the sandwich. Yeah, no, there probably wasn't many there in Vegas.
No Cubans.
No, not yet.
Florida, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
That's a sweep, Mama. If you're thinking about it during the break, that's a sweep for your boy. Whoopins. Handing out whoopins this weekend, Tom. This is going to be a good weekend. I know it's not going to go great for our Knowles, but this is going to be a good weekend. I'm going to win a lot of money. I can feel it all the way down to my plums. And I'm going to sweep here. That's going to be good. Next thing you know, we're starting a fresh week going into the bye. Recalibrate everything. Let's go.
I hope it's a good weekend, but, you know, like tomorrow we'll be at Hotel Indigo from 4 to 6 for a nice little pregame meet and greet and soiree. Jay Green, if you're listening, let's have one of those TVs on the National League Division Series. I know not everybody's coming there to watch baseball, but that's what the weekend is going to be. You know, that's the teetering back and forth between a good and bad weekend. Got 2 large games at Citizens Bank. Can you split? Can you get to Queens at 1-1?
I love where your head's at.
It's nowhere else. Well, I mean, of course it's on the job, and of course it's on my Knowles. But yeah,
they're not giving you a lot to believe in right now. Whereas the Mets are, we've moved on.
Hey, let's just see what kind of noise Brock can make. That's what tomorrow's about. Like, hey, can you do some cool stuff?
Well, that is what tomorrow's about, honestly.
I
yes.
just want to see some cool stuff. Can you
I want to see some sustained offense. Let's be honest. I mean, let's see if he can sustain a couple of drives. Listen, at the end of the day, I'm not expecting them to get the win. They're not the better team. They're outmatched by a considerable amount. But you ought to be able to see signs of things pointing northwards. That you ought to, in this offense should be getting better with a a quarterback that can get the hell out of the way of resounding pressure play in and play out. I mean, we had a statue who was taking beatings and really didn't seem to have a sense of urgency about him. At the very least, I think you're going to see a shot of enthusiasm and energy from the quarterback position. He's going to be a kid that is excited to be out there. It's the first time he's ever had a full week to prepare as a starter. Again, I don't think it goes well for him. I don't think he's not enough singularly to overcome all the things that are wrong with this offense, but he could do something to perhaps give you a little bit of a glimmer, a little bit of a silver lining where you say, you know what? That could beat North Carolina. That can beat Duke. That could give you a chance maybe into the second half against Notre Dame. That could be that you could beat Florida with that. I mean, you want to see some signs of real growth here. It can't just be that we're spitting vitriol from now until the end of the season with no signs of anything moving forward that gives you any glimmer of hope, as I'm saying. I mean, don't you think that if you play all those young kids, and he's included in that you're going to see a few moments of things that you go, okay, that can play. We're going to be all right there. Like Landon Thomas is going to make mistakes, and he's a really young player, so he's going to have a hard time blocking. But he's a really good receiver. He's got a chance. By season's end, we could be looking at him going, okay. Same goes with Lil Wayne McCoy. Same goes with Elijah Moore, maybe one of the young running backs. Same with, obviously, Brock Glenn.
Well, I think a big part of it is how loose are the rest of the guys going to play around him. Because it could be that, for example, I've got a theory that Malik Benson was none too happy with the situation prior. There are a lot of times where you would see him demonstrably demand the football or say, what are you doing? I'm open. They weren't on the same page with consistency. So I'm not saying that he was tanking. I'm not saying there was a lack of effort from Malik, but we all have plenty of examples in our lifetime watching football where you see the backup quarterback come in or the rookie get his chance finally and take the reins. And it's like a weight is lifted off of everybody else's shoulders. They play much more loose and free and inspired, and they're not puckering, And there's a whole lot of puckering going on with Florida State's offense right now. Now, it could still be the same thing. It could be the same thing. It just looks a little bit different because your quarterback has more mobility, but he doesn't have a rocket for an arm and some of the, dynamics that DJ does in the pocket or getting from progression from one half of the field to the other. It could end up being the same result, and you're left without much to work with tomorrow. But I don't know that for a fact yet. I got to see it first because they may play a little bit more loose, and maybe you say, well, this player looks like he might be a bit of a revelation because there's just a different synergy that goes with Brock. Is it hopeful? Yeah, but that's all you got right now. You don't have tangible things you can lean on in the moment.
Combining certain aspects, statistical measures, this offense is as bad as it gets in the Power Four. Any Power Four offense, and then beyond that, in the country. It's one of the worst offenses in the country. I'm serious when I say, what do you have to lose? It cannot get worse. You are already a laughingstock. That's what I'm looking forward to is upward mobility. Hour 3 coming up. Hang in.
For Infinity of Tallahassee. Here's something I seldom do. This is a redo of the announcement we did on the award-winning Infinity QX80. Why a retake? It's simple. I mentioned that the new QX80 had 14 clip speakers. Well, the QX80 actually has 24 speakers built in. That explains why once you sit in it and listen to the stereo system, you experience a sensory sensation unlike any other. True luxury, true serenity. It's easy to see how buyers feel that way. This Infinity is loaded with tech and comfort, including premium leather, heated first and second row seats, a huge touchscreen, and the aforementioned Clips Reference Premier with 24 speakers, blind spot monitoring, optional 4-wheel drive, and that's just for starters. You can step up to 2 rows of massaging seats, a refrigerated center console, and more than you can possibly imagine. The wait is over. Step up to individual audio, biometric cooling, Infinity Light Path, and ProPilot 2.1. Don't know what that means? No problem. Stop by and let us show you. You're going to love it all. Infinity of Tallahassee.
Hey, let me tell you about my friends at Tried and True Consulting, a Seminole-owned business that specializes in payments and business solutions. Tried and True's core expertise includes card, ACH, point of sale, mobile, e-commerce, and hosted payment solutions. Tried and True will help you reduce costs and increase your bottom line. That always sounds nice. Whether you're a retailer, restaurant, licensed professional, or service industry, Tried and True is saving you money. Tried and True's expertise extends to payroll, video menu ad boards, IT services, web design, and social media. It's time to make one call and tell the competition to take it on down the road. Call Don or Joe today at 844-464-6653. That's 844-464-6653. When you do business with Tried and True, they contribute 10% of the net revenue to the battle's end. So go Tried and True today. Call 844-464-6653. Science-backed, technology tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Bar Construction.com. We conquer all peaks. We fix those darn leaks. Call 850-766-134. T-Bar Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Bar Construction.com.
License number CCC 1331204.
WBFT Greater Tallahassee. This is Real Talk 93.3. Your sports action update on Real Talk 93.3 with all the latest odds from Vegas. Brought to you by Fulmar Spawn, Gun and Gold. More than you might expect with two great locations in Tallahassee.
Florida Gators opened as a favorite. They're now the 2.5-point home underdog to UCF tomorrow at the Swamp. Total 62. Gators 2-0 at home against the Knights, outscoring UCF 100-27 of those two victories. In the last meeting in the Gasparilla Bowl in 2021, UCF beat Florida by 12, 29-17. Clemson at Florida State as a 15-point favorite tomorrow. The total 46.5. Florida State 21-15 all time against the Tigers, although Clemson has won 3 straight meetings. Jacksonville Jaguars on Sunday, a 3-point home favorite against the Indianapolis Colts, a total 46. Bundle and save with Progressive. Progressive.com. For more sports betting news and information, go to VSIN.com. Mike Son at Real Talk 93.3.
Shop Macy's VIP sale going on now. Use your coupon or Macy's card and take an extra 30% off the latest fall trends from designers that rarely go on sale. And save 15% off skincare, makeup, fragrances, and more. Plus, shop fall specials for even more great deals on top brands at Macy's. Savings off regular and already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
Wendy's breakfast burrito has an entire breakfast in every bite. Fresh cracked eggs, seasoned potatoes, American cheese sauce, and sausage or bacon. So the first bite is like fresh American cheese sauce. Bacon. And the second bite is like fresh American cheese sauce. Bacon. And the third bite, you get the idea. The boss of breakfast burritos, gotta be Wendy's.
Participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
You want me to mow your grass? I will mow your grass. You want me to blow your roof? I will blow your roof. Do you want me to pull your weeds? I will pull your weeds.
Are you tired of people screaming at you on the radio and TV? Yeah, me too. That's why I use the Lawn Johns for my lawn care and landscaping.
Hey, it's Mark from the Lawn Johns. We're not here to hype, just here to help. Go to thelawnjohns.com or look for our big purple truck.
Big purple truck?
Barman, you look so twisted. What did you do now?
Well, Hank the alligator needed his teeth brushed, and when I bent over to give him a scrub, my back popped like an afternoon lightning storm in Florida. And now I can't even stand up.
You need to go to FinChiro.com and schedule your new patient appointment right away at FinChiro.com. That's FENNCHIRO.com.
I'm really busy. I don't want to leave Hank in the orange grove unattended for too long.
Fin Chiropractic will get you in right away and they get to the cause of your problems. So go to FinChiro.com and make your new patient appointment. There is even an online discount.
Discount? That's a good thing because my purse is a little light since I bought Hank a new gold chain.
You have to take care of yourself if you want to be able to take care of your alligator Hank. Make your appointment now. Go to FinChiro.com.
Well, hold my pina colada. I'm going to FinChiro.com.
Time to head out on our annual guys fishing trip. Wait, where's Jimmy?
He just texted me saying he has to swing by his storage unit to get a couple of things. And now there's a truck blocking him in and he won't be here for another hour.
That wouldn't have happened if he had just called Southeast Portable Buildings and got a unit right on his property.
I love mine. I have so much more space in my garage. Now I can finally park my truck in there.
Give them a call today, 850-580-6400. That's 850-580-6400. Or visit them online for all their options at southeastportablebuildings.com.
From Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2.
On Twitter, it's at Jay Cameron Show. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out. Tomorrow, you can swing by Hotel Indigo. We will be there at 4 o'clock. Now, depending on your outlook of this game, you may need lots of ice-cold, tasty beverages before entering the stadium, and you can get started. Well, you can get started before 4, but we'll be there at 4, so we'll aid you in your endeavor tomorrow.
You saw the photo that was put out today of the registers.
Delicious.
The registers, the way they serve it there is Fenway Frank style because it's on toast.
It's good.
It's really good.
Yeah, it's very tasty. My kids will take advantage of that tomorrow. They always do. I don't think they come to see me or you or anybody else. They're there to get the register sausage. That's what they're there to do.
I don't blame them. I will too, because I'll be taking in at least on my phone, or I'll be obviously meet and greeting and mingling. Well, keep it out of game 1 of the DS. And there's nothing like a little mustard and a giant just pork missile, right? That's what you want.
Yeah, it's going to be delicious and it'll be fun and the weather should be nice and we'll hang in there, right?
Your boys call them glizzies? Hot dogs? I know it's not what registers is, but
no.
That is a youthful term, apparently.
About a hot dog?
Yeah, they call them glizzies. Yeah.
You've
never heard that before?
No, it just sounds weird. Why do they?
Does it make you uncomfortable?
Yeah, what are we doing over here?
Want to go for a swim?
I don't get I don't even know what that is.
You never heard the term glizzy?
I've never. I've
wow.
heard. No, like if I praise an athlete, if I say like that guy is really good at something, like I'm watching a sport or something, and I'll be like, that guy's awesome. They're like, Dad, why are you always glazing so and so? They'll say
glazing?
that. They'll say, yeah, I'm always yeah, that's a phrase the kids use all the time. Like, stop glazing. So I'm like, come on, man.
Hey, man.
Just because I'm saying somebody's a good player, but if you go prattling on about Tiger Woods or Michael Jordan or whatever, they're like, man, every time I turn around, you're glazing Jordan. I'm like, he was only the greatest player of all time. It's okay. I can talk
I'm
about
gonna mess with them tomorrow if they brag on somebody. I'll say, stop basting them, okay?
Yeah.
Stop basting them in the sauce.
Yeah, I don't even know. Yeah. What's a word I did this the other day. I asked some friends when we were together. I don't know why I've been thinking about this lately, but I didn't get your answer, and I'd like to know your answer. I'll ask all of you in the chat. Give me an answer, because I'll give you mine. But what's a word that you can, and we're both great spellers, you and I.
Mm-hmm.
I won the spelling bee in 8th grade, I'll have you know.
I've won some spelling bees.
We both can spell our ass off. We're two very bright guys. The point is, there's always a word. Everybody's got a word. Everybody's got a hang up for some reason. They don't know why. What's a word that you consistently misspell and have to correct before you send out the text, or that it's alerted to you by the text that you've misspelled the word?
Yeah.
And what's the one? Because you want mine?
Go ahead.
Restaurant.
Really, the AU? You always put it at the end.
I screw up restaurant.
Yes, like your restaurant uncle.
I screw up restaurant every time, and I know I've been corrected 150,000 times not to spell restaurant that way. But in a hurry, I misspell restaurant all the time, and then I go, "You dumbass," and I get back in there and I get it right. But it pisses me off. So
I lost 5 points on a 6th grade project for spelling restaurant wrong on a model that I built.
Ryan says this is thigh. That's interesting.
Thigh.
Okay. I want to hear this answer, and then I'm going to let you guys in on a secret about this.
So I told you, restaurant. I never after 6th grade misspelled
because you missed it.
I
one
lost
time.
5 points.
Yeah.
Rhythm.
Really?
Oh, rhythm. It's the worst.
I could see where that would screw you up. English is a messed up.
Too many
language.
consonants.
Yeah, it's
too many.
That's interesting.
And where's the Y go?
Right.
Yeah. No.
Hawaii says maintenance. That's good.
Oh, maintenance. That's an easy one.
Well, that's what I was.
For me, everybody's got different.
This is what I was going to tell you. Here's what I've learned with all of this. Everybody else's word, if it's not yours. So if they don't say restaurant to me,
right.
I go, "What are you, dumbass?" When they say their word.
Like maintenance, yeah.
Right.
People spell lightning wrong all the time.
How?
It's lightening.
Yeah.
Like it's getting lighter out. It's lightening.
Yeah.
This guy is lightening. And as a fan of my hockey team, I'm like, can you stop being uncultured and spell lightning right? You know?
That's funny. But yes, I ask people this question. It's become my favorite question. I'll ask people this because the answers I get back, I've discovered this over this week. I've just been asking people that because I misspelled restaurant again earlier this week. And I'm like, sweet Jesus, Cameron, get a grip on this restaurant thing. Figure out how to spell it. So then I was like, surely other people have a word like that. And I started asking, and I noticed that I legitimately initially was judging everybody's answer. Somebody would say something like Ryan did, like, chief or whatever he said in there.
Calendar. Ryan said calendar.
Yeah. And I cracked up. Most people would say, I don't know why. I just struggle spelling. Candyman says inconvenience. Other people say, no, Kev, there. There's lots of them there.
Nope.
You can't do it, right? I get pissed when somebody mistakenly uses the wrong one.
I used to be the jerk who would correct people on AOL Instant Messenger. Like, come on now. You can do better.
Oh, I correct I correct my mom all the time. I also correct people when they say things like, I could care less. No, you couldn't.
You couldn't care less.
You couldn't care less. It's not I could. You couldn't. Don't do that.
See, I'm getting older though. I'm fighting those battles less.
I don't know. I'm not going to do it on a message board with a loser I don't know. I'm not going to do it on a sorry, but I'm not going to do it in a chat section or a.
Everybody head to the tribal council right now and start misspelling things and seeing when Jeff reacts.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm not in the comment section is what I mean. Sorry. I should have phrased it differently. I'm not going to in the comment section.
Chat, the live chat right here.
No, in the comment section. I'm not going to get into an argument with people who I've never met.
The funny thing is, if you said you either win $1 million or you die right now, if you can't spell rhythm right, and it's your choice, win or lose.
You'd be nervous?
I don't think I'd take the bet.
It makes you nervous thinking about it.
I'm like,
I can see the look on your face.
I don't know that I could.
But it's funny because what happens is when the people tell you they tell you their word, you instantly are like, oh man, I never knew Chad was a dumbass. It's like it's crazy.
They should see somebody.
It's crazy how judgy you can get, and then you just realize, well, they probably think you're an idiot because you can't spell restaurant or rhythm. Like it's really weird.
There are others, but that's definitely one of the kings. One of the kings. Actually, who could tell me better is probably Ira because he's the copy editor. Send him.
Well, we all have.
Probably, hey, Tom, would you mind spelling, reception right?
Noel Dad says vinyl. I never forget that because I collected records.
Ooh, that's a good one though. Again, with the consonants and the Y, vinyl. Like I know it, but
I'm trying to think if there's another word that I'm consistently just not right, where I get very angry, where I go, you misspelled this again. Get a grip. And it makes me mad. It's not like yesteryear where you would write something down and then later on realize that you had spelled it incorrectly and you were doomed. You had to go get white out. It's just ridiculous, what. In the modern era, you type something into your phone, it tells you, hey, dumbass, that's not spelled right. Basically, that's what that red line is underneath the word. You're like, oh, yeah, sorry about that.
Sometimes the suffixes able, IBLE, ABLE, those ones.
So like liable?
That one's easier because it's a shorter word. But if you got a multisyllabic compound word and there's an able at the end, sometimes I will mix up the A and the I on IBLE or ABLE.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
can't think of the specific word right now, but I know that's been a problem.
Good job, P. Simpson. Vacuum is pretty good. I think a lot of people struggle with that. Knowles FN, February. Yeah, but I always remember that you had to say Ruary.
Yeah, February.
When I was a kid, that's how they told you, like, just say Ruary and you'll be all right.
Yeah.
Even though it's February. Wednesday. That's how I would do it, Troy.
Yep, that's right.
Instead of Wednesday, we would just say Wednesday, and that's how I say it in my mind. Tucson. Okay, now we're talking about cities and capitals.
Candyman has tomorrow. So that's because a lot of people use the abbreviation TOMM, which I'm like, don't do that. There's not two M's. That's I used to be mad about that.
Well, if you're going to use an abbreviation, it's TMRW.
Yeah, some people will do TOMM period. Like see you Tom.
But no, that
see you Tom.
No, that's not right. that's not what we do. We can't do that. For a long time, by the way, when I would spell a certain word that you can't say on the air and the phone would autocorrect to duck, that infuriated me.
There you go, Life Spectator. Said compatible. Like I think I know the right one, for what I would use, but I'm not sure.
It's so anxiety producing.
It is.
When you have a weakness for a word or a certain way that a problem needs to be solved, like the order, and you're like, am I sure about, do I remember that from 7th grade properly? Is that? No, that's the order. We got to, yes, you do that. You add those two first, then yes. Like that's.
Oh, yeah.
People do that. They get out of order.
Were you talking PEMDAS? You talking about your order of operations?
Yeah, the order of operations. Yeah. But I'm saying you have to have things that are reminders like that.
Yeah, well, like the planets. We had to do it with Mr. de Blasio's class. You had to come up with your own little thing, and Pluto was still a planet.
Yeah, we screwed Pluto some time ago.
We did.
Get up out of here, Pluto.
Mr. Vinny Edwards made junk soup under nauseous people. That was mine, to remember the order of the planets.
You know what? That Roy G. Biv for the color spectrum.
Yep.
And that was always so easy, right? Roy G. Biv, I can't miss. But you'll meet people and you'll say to them, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. And how did you know that so fast? Roy G. Biv, who the hell does? And they're like, well, we were never taught that. I'm like, what kind of delinquent ass teacher did you have?
Really? That was
second, third. Everybody got Roy G. Biv.
Yeah. You did too?
Yeah.
That's a good sign though, because we're talking about, nearly a full generation, and that's not even a dig, because cursive versus script. My dad swears it's called script.
It's not. It's called cursive, but that's okay. No, that's good. The I before where was
Bizarre versus Bizarre?
Yeah, Bizarre versus Bizarre.
Canceled. Yeah, because different countries. Well, no, there is an English and a United States usage, double L versus single L.
The also in England, when you see like English where they'll what's the
OUs?
No, the Z and the S.
Oh yes,
yeah.
Criticized.
Yes.
With an S, for example.
Yeah, they'll do that. What are we doing out here?
Or the OUR, like they do in Canada.
Yes.
So I read a lot of hockey articles. I'm like, oh, you people with your extra U's.
It'll drive you nuts. Hey, here's something cool that has nothing to do with spelling. It has to do with sports, and it kind of blew me away. And I got to give Joe Poznansky credit. Read his article. Always do. Read a lot of baseball articles. A lot of really good baseball writers, by the way. Not enough good football writers. A lot of really good baseball writers, not a lot of good football writers. A couple of good football writers, like 12 really good baseball writers. Sport also lends itself to great writing. It's just, you got a lot of time. You got a lot of time. But get this, and I'll read this part to you, Tom, just so you can smile as we get set to go to break, and we'll come back and we'll do the red zone and we'll kick ass with that and have a lot of fun.
Do spelling with the red zone?
No, we're gonna do sports
Spell
with the red
Lawrence
zone.
for Lawrence Toafili.
ENCE? It's ANCE, isn't it?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
Rants.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. I would have got it if I written it out. I would have been like, no, that's wrong. Not on the. I don't mean on my phone. I mean, if I had written it, I would have been like, oh, that's not right. Yeah. Sometimes you just gotta see it.
We got to get the whiteboard behind you. There's a gap there.
We can have
maybe 93.3 will give you the.
The board. Yeah. All right. Here you go. And then we go to break, and then we come back and do red zone. Great baseball games, truly great baseball games, are often multiple games all in one. Thursday night's Mets Brewers wild card game was just such a game. You had game one, a fierce pitching duel between New York starter Jose Quintana. Quintana, that creep can roll, man.
Yeah, a tightrope walk for 6 innings.
Who's been pitching pretty much forever in Milwaukee. Rookie Tobias Myers. Quintana threw 6 scoreless. Myers threw 5. Game went into the bottom of the 7th inning, tied at 0. Intense. An aside, Quintana was teammates with Paul Konerko. We all remember Paul Konerko.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
White Sox legend.
Yes. So get this. This is crazy, and it is a lot of fun to do. Quintana was teammates with Paul Konerko, who was teammates with Eddie Murray, who was teammates with Brooks Robinson, who was teammates with Eddie Lapat, who was teammates with Frankie Crosetti.
You lost me at Lapat.
Who was teammates with Babe Ruth. That's pretty amazing through line. You go Quintana, Konerko, Murray, Robinson, Lapat, Crosetti, Ruth. That's crazy. That's just an interesting way to connect the dots of time. I do this with my grandmother, who's 98. I think the people she met when she was little, like her granddad and her were like, oh, so you had conversations about the Civil War. Like we used to do with Earl.
Sure.
Yeah.
And the conversation to them when they were kids about the Civil War was what? Independence?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, for real.
Well, think about though, I always do this now that I'm 53. When I talk about Vietnam, now, the weird part about that is because I was a child of the 70s, and because my dad was in the Army, your dad was in the Army, we know all the connections, right? All this stuff. Okay. When you're a little kid, like in the 80s, let's say, when somebody referenced Vietnam, it's fresh.
Sure. Yeah.
It's talked about like in present tense, like, oh, well, you know.
My dad still had black hair talking about Vietnam.
Yeah. Coming back from Nam, we did this, this, and this. And you would meet people who were relatively young that had fought in Nam. You know, you'd meet a 30-something-year-old man. He had fought in Nam. And to him, to you as a little kid, he was old because he's in his 30s. But we now know 30s is not old. You know, especially.
Better be.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Whereas if somebody was talking about World War I, you could feel the depth, the weight of the distance between that time and this time. You'd be like, it's not as relatable. You know, whereas somebody from Nam, you're like, yeah, it just happened. Like, and there's a pall that hangs over a country that gets out of a war, was in a war. Like, its veterans are omnipresent from that, and you hear stories about that. It's on the nightly news, references to it, you know, lawsuits and things that are related to it, right? So I realize now that when I talk about anything that have to do with Vietnam, it could be a movie or a book, or my kids must look at it the way that I used to look at people when they would talk about World War II or World War I.
Sure.
Where they're like, Jesus, Dad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good God.
So if I talk to my nieces and nephews about the Beatles,
yeah,
that is the same and akin to my mom used to listen to a big band station
on
the AM in Tampa. They had an awesome one. It was like 840, 860. I don't know. But she used to love to listen to the music of her folks. And
there it is.
That was it.
Yeah. Tying that together.
Now, if I'm talking to your kids, if I'm talking to my nieces and nephews about the Beatles, they think of the Beatles as the way I thought about big band jazz. Like, what? That's ridiculous. But so it is.
Game 2 within game 3. In the 7th inning, the unlikely Brewers duo, Jack Bauers and Sal Frelick, hit back-to-back home runs off of Jose Butto, sending Milwaukee County Stadium. Sorry, I'm always going to call it Milwaukee County Stadium, not American Family Field, into a wild and wonderful frenzy. When thinking about the first round of the playoffs, felt a little bit like a bummer. Finally occurred to me, home field fans have had so little to cheer for. The home team, Baltimore Orioles, lost quickly and without putting up much of a fight. The home team, Houston Astros, lost quickly and without putting much of a fight. There was certainly cheering going on in San Diego during the Padres sweep of Atlanta, but that series never really took off. Braves came to town looking like they had 4 semi-healthy players. The Mets-Brewers series has had to carry all the emotion, and the back-to-back home runs felt electric in that moment. The Brewers led 2-0, and in these playoffs, with today's bullpens, a 2-run lead feels kind of close to insurmountable. Game 3 within the game. Then there was the 9th inning. Devin Williams came on to close things out for Milwaukee. Williams, look at the career numbers. He's been so good. In 235 innings, he has 375 strikeouts. Batters hit 150 against him. He had an ERA of 1.83 over the course of those 235 innings. Dude, that is dominant.
And he's also going to be on the market. They're going to shop him.
In 2020, he won the Rookie of the Year. 22 appearances, he gave up 1 run. Those are his career numbers I was citing you. You can go back through. He has been as good as they come since he's arrived in the league. In 19 appearances post-August, he was 170 slugging percentage.
170 slug.
So the leadoff batter for the Mets is, of course, the great Francisco Lindor. I don't need to tell you how good he is. And he gets on base, which, Tom, you said was the moment you realized, okay, it could happen.
Yeah, well, anybody can run into one. But it felt like, even though Nimmo's a good player for us, I think 2 outs, nobody on, you're not recovering from that. So one of your first 2 guys, Lindor or Vientos, has to reach. And Lindor worked the walk.
Well, the best part about it is Lindor fell behind 1-2.
Yeah.
Refused to chase a changeup down and away, backed off an inside fastball, full count. Slight crack in Devin Williams' game is that he will walk hitters. Williams threw an unhittable fastball on the low and outside corner. Lindor fouled it off. Williams then threw an unhittable fastball up and in. Lindor fouled it off. Williams then caved and threw a riding fastball that seemed headed for the corner, but sailed just outside.
It was.
Lindor flicked the bat toward it, but definitely held back. Ball 4. Perfect Francisco Lindor AB. He doesn't walk all that much. He has always had a hit-first mentality. When the team needed a base runner, he fought for that walk. Next was Vientos. Williams fired a rising fastball by him for strike 3. The Mets were down to their final 2 outs of the season. Up came Brandon Nimmo. Talked about him before in this article. He goes on to say that he's the best player to ever be born in Wyoming.
He got immediately the 2 strikes.
There's a certain feeling, a sort of comfort that fans feel when their teams, Brandon Nimmo, steps to the plate in a crucial situation. It's not that anyone was confident that Nimmo would come through per se. He hit just 224 this year with a career low 399 slugging percentage and a career high 158 strikeouts. No, the comfort is this guy will give you a good competitive at-bat, though. That's all you can really ask in baseball these days. Can you give me a good competitive at-bat, especially against the likes of Devin Williams? Just kind of hang in there. Nimmo fouled off a changeup down in the zone, fouled off a changeup just outside the zone, was down 0-2. 2 unhittable pitches. There's the four-seam fastball, which rises and rides with the wind, and there's the changeup, which batters miss half the time they swing at it. Williams went with the changeup. Nimmo ripped it for a single. Lindor to third. Nimmo revealed afterwards that just before the game, he learned of the passing of his grandmother. She would have been cheering us on, he told reporters. And now it was Pete Alonso time. He's paid $20 million a year to hit home runs. It's not the only thing he does. He does hit doubles. But yeah, mostly it's a whole home run thing. He hit 53 of them as a rookie, 46 of them last year. And yes, a home run was exactly, in the moment, what the Mets needed. A, Devin Williams doesn't give up home runs. B, home runs do tend to come in bunches. Alonso has not been hitting home runs His last homer was 2 weeks ago. His last extra base hit was 2 weeks ago. Over that stretch of time, he hit 132. Ooh, Tommy.
Well, I felt it. Yeah, I'm aware.
Williams threw a changeup right down the middle of the plate, middle, and Alonso watched it go by. But Alonso then watched 3 pitches sail out of the zone to give him the hitter's count he needed at 3-1. There would later be some talk about Williams, who might have been tipping his pitches on the night, and maybe he was. There is video evidence of that. I don't know if you see John Boy's video.
I haven't seen the video yet, but I mean, the sequence did seem fairly predictable in the way we were swinging at it. So
Williams couldn't afford to walk Alonso and load the bases. His fastball was missing out of the zone. The pitch he had command of was the changeup. Most began to think the changeup's coming. Alonso did too. He said after the game, well, the ball was over the plate. It was most definitely over the plate, and Alonso smashed it the other way. What's cool is he goes on to talk about how most in that stadium was not sure that was gone. Most of his teammates weren't sure that was gone, but that he, and he has said as much, knew it was gone. That's fascinating because it's barely gone, but he knew. And he's hit so many home runs that I tend to believe him. If you were a slappy who doesn't hit many home runs and you said that, I'd be like, come on, man.
No, that's fair. It also wouldn't shock me if he was wrong and he knew it, but I'm glad he was right.
Meanwhile, the Brewers blow a 2-run lead and lose to the Mets at home in crushing fashion. In 2023, they got swept by the D-backs in Milwaukee. In 2021, they blew a 2-run lead and lost to Atlanta in 4 games in the NLDS. In 2020, they never had a lead against the Dodgers in the wild card round. In 2019, they blew a 3-run lead and lost to Washington in the wild card game. Let's add to the misery of the Milwaukee Brewers postseason. Orioles and Brewers fans can give each other a hug. Jeff Cameron Show 93.3, Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Hey man, if you heard about Pentalpit is the best in town. Rings, diamonds, hearing braces, and more. Pentalpit Jewelry.
When was the last time you randomly did something nice for someone that means a lot to you? Now, I say this every day at the end of my show for everybody to be a better person today than you were yesterday. Well, one way to do that is to drop into Pentalpit and get a gift for someone who deserves it. It'll brighten their day, their week, maybe even their year. You don't have to wait for a holiday or special occasion, so don't wait to go check out a true local gem, serving Tallahassee since 1988. Now sing along with me, and I'll see you at Pentalpit.
We're all going through our own fitness journey. We want to get the most out of our time in the gym or with a trainer. We want to eat the right things and do the right things to be in the best shape possible. Why not find out exactly where you're at in that journey by getting a DEXA scan today? It's the most accurate measurement of all body composition methods. It is the gold standard in what is used in clinical diagnosis, the only method that can determine bone density and give a direct measurement of visceral fat. You can do so and save a bunch of money. That's why I'm here, guys. Use Jeff25 as a discount code for 25% off any of the services at DexaFit. It's not just a DEXA scan. They have red light therapy that helps accelerate wound healing, pain relief, muscle recovery, improve circulation, skin health. They'll also give you tips on personalized nutrition with weight management, fitness optimization. These are all things that you want to do to help correct imbalances. Go see our friends at DexaFit and save right now. Use code Jeff25. Discount code Jeff25 for 25% off any services at DexaFit.
Maddie, did you hear Grassroots Coffee is now the official coffee of FSU's NIL collective, The Battle's End?
Yes, I've heard tons of people talking about it and the new coffee, Battle's End Blend.
Yeah, every time you buy a bag of Battle's End Blend specialty coffee, you help support FSU athletes and help our Noles be more competitive.
Every time I buy a bag?
Anytime anyone buys a bag, retail or wholesale for business. Just imagine how much impact we can have if every time FSU alumni and fans take a sip of coffee, FSU athletes benefit.
Just go to grassrootscoffee.com, select Battles End Blend and the size and grind setting you want. And if you have a coffee shop, restaurant, or even a business that has coffee in the break room, You can buy it wholesale at Grassroots Wholesale Portal, grassrootscoffeeroasters.com.
Locally owned, locally roasted, locally loved, and committed to our Knowles. Grassroots Coffee.
So good.
Point.
Hey, you okay? You don't normally miss those shots.
Oh, I just haven't been as regular lately, and it's making me feel sluggish.
You should try Metamucil. It's been a game changer for me. Metamucil's plant-based psyllium fiber helps trap and remove the waste that weighs you down.
Ace.
You're moving better than you were last week.
Definitely.
Metamucil keeps you moving. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Learn more at metamucil.com.
October is Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and LifeLock is here to elevate your protection game. Using the same simple password across all your accounts, that's risky. While updating your passwords to be more unique is a good start, true peace of mind comes with LifeLock. LifeLock doesn't just alert you to suspicious activity, but monitors for more uses of your personal info and will fix identity theft issues that arise, guaranteed, or your money back. Secure your identity today with a 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com. Use promo code NEWS. Terms apply.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Do it. Let's do this thing. Let's get our buddy Adam in here and talk a little bit about the greatness of well, first of all, if you go to NoelRetirement.com, you'll see what I'm talking about. You want a retirement plan? You do. And you want one that has helped many a folk, forged by Artisan Financial Strategies. Cue it up, Tom. Let's do some red zone action.
Welcome to the majesty.
Every freaking rep.
The elegance.
To win the game. It's no good.
You have entered.
Someone burned down the funeral home. You burnt the funeral home.
Lives will be changed.
Unbelievable.
Mothers will cry.
When you see your players give all that they have and you lose that way, it's tough.
Legacies are etched into eternity.
I know who I am.
North, South Dakota was his brother from West Virginia.
This is the red zone.
It's good to know.
Our fellow Noel, Adam Tolliver, and his team at Artisan Financial Strategies prepared to help you cash it in the red zone. Certainly Florida State's going to have to do that tomorrow night if they get chances against Clemson. But this one's about protecting you and your family against rising healthcare costs, carefully planning perhaps your legacy. And they've got 30-plus years of planning experience, world-class resources to help you navigate all of that. Go to NoelRetirement.com. When you do, you'll see a little video that tells you about what they do, about making smart decisions. You'll also get on that retirement readiness assessment plan with a free assessment plan, I should say. Just put in your email. You're good to go. What risk management, financial planning, estate and legacy planning, all that good stuff. Business succession, if I can say that word. That's another one that can be tough to spell, Tom, with the 2 C's and the 2 S's.
And the ION. So
well, the ION's easy.
Succession.
All right. What's first down? Where
First
you go?
down.
Where are you going with this?
Is this a game of interest after 1 quarter of play?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Second down. Is this a game
I thought you were going
of
to do
interest at halftime?
What? Let's define our terms.
Within 10.
No.
Ooh, okay. Well, then I don't have to worry about the third down question following the pattern. I can go differently.
If you had said within 14, I might have said yes, because I think we get blown out in the second half. But
third down will be level of concern that perhaps the secondary might have some issues.
No, and I don't care what happens in this game. I won't say that. I think that this defense will get worn down. There'll be too many opportunities. I do think that there's a lot of talent there. I'm not going to go into the offseason worried about our secondary. I'm going to go into the offseason worried like hell about our offensive line. I'm going to go into the offseason worried like hell about these linebackers. I'm going to go into the offseason worried as hell about the defensive ends that are the ones coming back. I'm going to go in the offseason worried as hell about our perhaps our quarterback situation, our wide receiver situation. Yeah, I mean,
so you would say more of a coaching concern than a talent concern, because look, Cal executed and delivered upon several long conversions.
Third down is where we go to die because we're the most predictable defense in the country.
For different reasons, though. You had zone coverage busts against Cal.
When was the last time we ran a zone well?
Well, we continue to call it, and we called it more against SMU.
To answer your question, coaching concerns.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, leading to a prodigious day through the air for Klubnik. Do you have a concern about that? Same down.
No, I actually think they're going to do – I think Clemson can kind of do what they want to do. There's a part of me that thinks that –
I'm asking leading questions, I understand, because it's just, to me, there's a trend going on here about us blowing coverages that didn't happen for the first few weeks of the season. They were tested to a great degree.
They were not tested. They didn't have to be because they either killed you on a wheel route or the tight end.
I was stunned we ran as much zone as we did against SMU. I couldn't believe it. And now we got off the field a couple of times with it, but I remember even remarking, sometimes I hop into the game thread on the Tribal Council and saying, like, man, I don't know if this is a good or a bad thing, but they're running a lot of zone, and it was good for the moment. And then there's the one bust right up the seam where there's nobody there, and it's because they don't know where to be. And if you do that against these athletes, Jesus.
Yeah, no, I think we're going to get torched. This is not a good matchup for Florida State. This is not an ideal matchup, Tom. That's I'm with you there, buddy.
All right. Fourth down, fan down, Noel Dad. Klubnik over under 37.5 rushing yards.
Over.
Okay. By a healthy margin, it sounds like.
Yeah, I just think he'll have one really long run, which will eat up much of that 37.5 that he put out there. There'll be a scramble where he gets 28. And you're going to be like, son of a.
Way too early, fifth down. Way too early a report card for Brock Glenn. His performance will net him a letter grade of what on Monday?
I would think a C. I think we're going to see some things with his feet that we like. There'll be a couple passes because he's got a good arm. He isn't afraid to test you downfield. He may hit on one of those that you'll feel pretty good about. But all in all, I think there'll be some mistakes there because he's going to be under duress. And I don't know that this is the game that I'm going to say, oh, well, you know what, he can't play. Let's see the rest of the way. Let's see how many games he plays.
Well, he's graded on a curve here. I think all fair-minded people would say that, right? Like, that if his first impression of 2024 is in this particular setting.
It stinks. I said it in hour one that it was BS.
Degree of difficulty is the highest it's been for any quarterback wearing our uniform this season is this week. It's not a fair thing.
You would put this stretch of games that he's played to start his career, his starts, that Louisville team, that Georgia team, this Clemson team. I mean, that short of some kids, some young players getting starts in the SEC early in their career in one of those years where the schedule works out really against you. Like maybe there's a kid in the SEC who had to start against Alabama, LSU, and Auburn or something like that to start his career. You'd be like, well, Jesus, welcome to football, kid. But other than that, this is brutal.
Sixth down, last one. Over under 1.5 passes completed for over 30 yards by Brock. Shot plays, if you will. 1.5.
I'll say 2. I'll go over. Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah,
yeah, I think so. Because I think we're going to move him around. I think he's going to surprise Clemson a couple times. He likes those shots. He does. Also, I would say about him, if you're really trying to get a very good read on Brock, then you, I think, as a coach, would want him to play Clemson, Duke, Miami, North Carolina. And you'd say, all right, that is a healthy look. We've got a game that they're overwhelmed, a game that you should win, but Duke plays good defense. So, let's see how you play in that game. On the road at Miami, we'll tell you about where your head's at. Where can you handle pressure of a rivalry game? You're going to be a significant underdog. How do you handle that? But then you got a very, very winnable game at home against a North Carolina team that is struggling, whose coach is going to be gone at the end of this year. You can refresh your palate with that game coming back. You should have a sense of who he is before you go off to Notre Dame. And the other reason I would suggest that is that I think at some point you're going to want to see some Kromenhoek, and maybe the Charleston Southern game and the Florida game provide you some opportunities to get him out there a little bit more too.
Percentage chance, this isn't part of the downs, but we're in the red zone, so it's okay. Percentage chance you see Kromenhoek tomorrow by design.
I don't think so.
Percentage chance you see Trevor Jackson tomorrow by design.
Better chance of that. Just to run some Wildcat.
Percentage chance you see Wildcat with not Trevor Jackson running it, just a Toafili. What rank the most likely to least likely? Wildcat without Trevor Jackson, followed by Trevor Jackson, followed by Cromanhawk?
Didn't it sound like Mike was beginning to get a little bit more willing to just shake up the whole kit and caboodle?
Yeah, and with the quarterbacks.
Yeah.
He used them. He used plurals a lot this week.
I think he may, moving forward, do a lot of things with all these guys. I think you're right. The more we talk about it, the more I think you may see all of them at various points. There may be packages set up for all these guys and right situations. Yeah.
You'd have to communicate that beforehand, though. Like, even if it's your plan B, it's gotten out of hand and we're in the fourth quarter and I want to get Luke a drive. Like, you got to tell Brock that. You can't just spring that on him in the moment, because if you spring it on Brock in the moment, he thinks it's a demotion.
Yeah.
And you haven't exactly put him in the best circumstances. So let's just hope that has been communicated.
I would certainly think that you're going to communicate all of this. Communication's key to any of this stuff. I can't imagine that the coach is just going to willy-nilly this thing, Evel Knievel this thing down the home stretch here. He's got to say, hey, guys, none of this is going to be personal. Lots of you are going to be playing. Some of you are going to get pulled out. You might even be playing well. I got to see some things, situational things. I'm going to be playing guys that I want to see how they respond to certain situations. It's not some grand experiment. We're still trying to win games, but I do want to get people playing time in key situations.
Here's a fun prediction question. What is achieved first? What happens first? 2 screens or a shot play? What do we get to first?
That's a great question. I think they'll take a shot
before they get to, because there will be one screen at minimum.
There will be one screen
before the shot.
Might be the first play. I love when we throw screen passes and haven't established the run or done it. It's always hilarious. It's like, let's run a draw on the first play of the game. What?
Coach, if you notice, they're not even yelling screen because they just know.
That's now your offense. You just run screens over and over again.
The usual. Not screen.
Yeah. You haven't set it up, Coach. Doesn't seem to be set up by anything just yet.
You notice the front 4 doesn't even rush. They're just waiting.
Yeah, that's toughy. No, I think they'll call a shot play. They got to get Clemson to back off. So I'll go that route. NoelRetirement.com. Go see our folks at Artisan Financial Strategies. Fellow Noel, Adam Tolliver, and his group are the best in the business, and they do great work. And we've heard good responses from those of you that have reached out. NoelRetirement.com. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
A person was struck by a vehicle Wednesday afternoon along West Pensacola Street. The collision happened just before 4 p.m., according to the Tallahassee Online Police Statistics Map. It was labeled as traffic collision with injury on the map and took place near the intersection of Pensacola and Osley Roads. The pedestrian's condition and details of the crash are limited at the moment. At about 5 p.m., a Tallahassee Police Watch commander confirmed the pedestrian was struck by a vehicle, but no further information was disclosed. This is a developing story. This November, Tallahassee residents will vote on 5 changes to the city's charter or constitution. One of the biggest items on the ballot includes potential pay raises for city commissioners. If passed, commissioners would make the same as county commissioners, just under $100,000. Right now, the city commissioners are paid half of the county commissioners, meaning they make about $50,000. This is Rachel and A with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
Now, here's your Paul's Termite and Pest Control Tallahassee weather report.
Ending the week with a chance of showers along with cloudy conditions at times. Highs staying in the mid-80s with lows near 70 degrees. Cooler temperatures possible next week. Today, partly sunny, 40% chance of rain, high of 85. Tonight, low of 71. Saturday, partly sunny, still a 30% chance of rain, high of 85. Again on Sunday, partly sunny with a slight chance of rain, high of 84. From Real Talk 93.3, this is Danielle Kelly.
For the elimination of termites, pests, and for a greener lawn too, call Paul's. They'll get them all.
Be Nice Tire and Auto Service at 4792 Bluntstown Highway today. The ASE trained technicians at Nice take the guesswork out of fixing your car. That's why wherever you see the Goodyear sign, you'll find what you want in tires and service. From preventative maintenance to a major overhaul and everything in between, you name it. Plus, Nice's services are backed by a nationwide limited warranty. Stop by Nice Tire and Auto Service. 4792 Bluntstown Highway, just west of Capitol Circle.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avastin-capted Pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
I guess what's a win at the end of the day? What's a win? Not an actual win, because nobody thinks we're going to do that. I wonder how many. Listen, there are plenty of people who every week, if you were to talk to them, eternally optimistic, couldn't, if they had to, pick against Florida State. They're not pragmatic. They're not realistic. They are the super fans. I rather enjoy their optimism. I rather enjoy their outlook on their fandom. I can't do that. I'm a realist. In every facet of it, I am a realist. It could be that way, whether we're talking about sports or any other subject. But I wish I could be that optimistic about anything, for that matter. But I've noticed that people who aren't at that extreme, even the ones who thought something else must be going on, Mike will get it figured out, they've given up on this year too. So I don't know that, I mean, they've had to finally acquiesce to the idea that he ain't figuring this out this year. The answers aren't there. The answers aren't there right now.
If the answer presents itself, then that's almost kind of worse, because, you know, it would happen by default because you were forced into a certain situation.
Well,
like,
yeah.
What if Brock plays really well?
What if Brock plays really well and this game's tied at 24 with 5 minutes to play? You're going to almost be pissed.
People would be.
I will be. I'll be happy and pissed at the same time.
The problem would be, and this is where the open policy helps, you know, it's not like Brock took the bull by the horns.
You would realize in the moment, oh, man, he's not a practice player and he shines when the lights are bright, although people would say you couldn't have known that either because of the Georgia-Louisville games. But you would say, well, that was a little unfair, not the same set of circumstances. This is the first time he's ever been prepped.
You know, like if he turns out to be a gamer, then people will feel pissed, whether, you know, there's logic behind it or whether it's cloudy, it's in the gray, doesn't matter. They'll say, you couldn't have done this 3 weeks ago. And that would be fair.
Completely fair.
Yeah.
Well, I have a feeling that, and this is where I do, I like a lot of things about Mike. One of them is I don't think he's afraid of a conversation. I do think that he would say, you know, we just didn't see that from him. You know, a lot of you may be wondering why we didn't start him earlier. Like, imagine he goes out and plays. Again, this is a big, big if, and it doesn't seem likely because they have so many holes in the roster. But Tom, if he goes out and is 20 of 31 for 257, 2 touchdowns, he runs for another 38 yards, and they're in the game with 5 minutes to play. That, whether they win it or not, people are going to be like, what the hell, brother? We could have been doing, we would have won. If this guy's playing anywhere close to that, we kill SMU. We kill Memphis. It's not 14-9 against sorry-ass Cal. I mean, like, you would be.
Yeah, we'll beat Georgia Tech because our confidence hadn't been shot at that point.
Right. Now, you'll forgive the start against Georgia Tech. First game of the year, week 0, you brought in, maybe.
But you'll question the whole thing. Like, why did you have to go dip in and go grab this guy? Like, he was a material upgrade, you know?
You would, yes, you will.
The answer, we all know what the answer is. Well, I thought I could run the ball. Right.
Well, you whiffed. You didn't. You can't run the ball. But
we're one of the worst running teams in America.
It's fascinating to think about that. It's
how could you be that wrong?
Well, I'd like for that to be the case. I hope we're having that discussion because it means you found something. It means you got a guy. It means you think that maybe you can win some football games and suddenly you're not, rudderless. Like I said before, you would have found your way. You can steer the ship again and maybe get back in the good graces of some recruits, by the way. who you continue to lose on the regular. And, if you're to believe what you hear out there, you're going to lose a couple of really key recruits here real soon.
Yeah. And why do we have you here on salary? To certain coaches.
Yeah. If you're going into this, if you're going into the off season with 9 or 10 losses and you've got yeses from 8 or 9 recruits, man, light it on fire. What have you done? What have you wrought, sir? That is silliness. For me as a Toronto sports fan, there are 2 moments. Joe Carter's home run off Mitch Williams. I was watching when it happened. Kawhi Leonard Game 7 buzzer beater in Philadelphia. Yeah, that was something. That ball stayed in the air for a while. Pretty crazy. Toronto's one of the few teams in NBA history that took a flyer on the guy and just trusted that he could be good and make a run. You had him. That's it. That's all. He's gone at the end of that playoff run, and you're like, oh, my God, we won it. It worked. We did it. Yeah, it worked. It happened. And that was the last time Kawhi was great. We've got Noel Kev. Sorry, I'm late to the show. Going to have to go back and watch. But you know who's never late to the show? Kirk mother-loving Cousins. He had himself a night. That is a devastated secondary in Tampa with injuries galore. Enjoy that win, Noel Kev. Atlanta, without a Super Bowl in their franchise history, probably not going to get one this year.
That's one of the great wins in the history of the franchise.
That's what I'm saying. You got to really savor that win over the Bucs. If we win the toss, do we kick or receive? I think we kick.
We asked for a 10-minute runoff. It's a little known wrinkle in the rules.
We'd like the clock to start before we kick off. Start it right now. Signal up there to start this clock. Let's go. Also, we'd like 12-minute quarters.
Rule 43, Section 1, Subsection A. We can request that if we win the toss.
Yeah, that's a toughie. I would kick off. I'd want to see if my defensive line is engaged and we're going to do something against that run game. Because Clemson's going to poke.
The crowd loud, too.
Yeah, Clemson's going to prod, and they're going to see, are you here to fight? Do you care? And the quickest way to find out if somebody cares is to run a 230-pound running back at them.
That's right.
Yeah, run that and see if they care.
They love to run counter, too, which, requires us to be leveraged and all that.
You got to fight and angles and all. Yeah. So that's what they'll do. They'll probably are you still alive? Is that thing moving? You still alive? Poke, 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 poke. Only it's not such a gentle poke. It's gets you some of this right here.
That'd be great if you were the color commentator on the broadcast tomorrow. Well, you see what Clemson's going to do to start the games. They go poke, 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 poke.
They want to see if you care to be here. Pokety, pokety. What you got? Poke, poke, poke.
Play and a gain of 2. That's a gain of 2.
Yeah. Here comes again. 2nd and 8. Got to chin check it. Poke, poke, poke. This is a big 3rd down and 3 here. They're going to run it again, guys. This will be the 3rd straight run. Poke, poke, poke. Oh, look at that. FSU cares to be here. They got to stop. They're going to get a punt. Here we got a ball game. We got a first half. We got a ball game, everybody. Tomorrow, Hotel Indigo, 4 o'clock. Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., Tom and I, pregame show. We'll be doing it. Good times. And we'll see you out there. Get ready for the happy hour over at the Corner Pocket. Won't be there long. Got to make my way to a high school game, but Corey and the gang will be there for a while.
It's all love, Noel Kev. He got mad about the Falcons comment.
Well, that's what allow me to retort.
You brought it to the party, pal.
Book, book, book.
This is Patty Wilson.